A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation this morning on the AM show. And that's how we start the show this morning. Well, today's a Wednesday. It's midweek, and here's what you can look forward to. Right after the news, we'll be joined by political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is our guest. And right from there, AM Sports, courtesy of Mubarak Haruna, will be bringing you that. And after that, the big stories. Now, Parliament has started its debate of the 2024 budget presented by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. What is your take on what has happened so far, what he presented in Parliament just a few days ago, and what we can expect moving forward? We'll delve into that issue today. But also, flag bearers of the governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition NDC have hit the ground running as far as the campaign trail is concerned. We've got an analysis of what they've been saying, how people have been reacting, and what policies they are proposing, whether they are even feasible, practical in our setting. Well, our guest this morning, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, he's Member of Parliament for Wa Central. Like I always say, if you get on the show and you don't see the other side represented, it's because we stretched out a hand and the hand was rebuffed. No one can compel anyone to come on the show. Well, moving on from there, we've also got a conversation on Krontini Akwemu lectureship coming up later today. We'll be telling you a bit more about that. The topic, 25 years of promoting democracy, good governance, and inclusive development. Details later on the show. Something else you can expect on the show this morning. Joy News and an amalgam of professional bodies present a public speaking event on this topic, a common manifesto for our common future. Now, the panelists are Michael Cotto and Akosua Bame, and the main speaker, David Ofosu-Dotty. A lot of you know him. Well, he's passionate about Ghana. He'll be in that event later today at the British Council. We'll be hearing from Dr. Kwame Sapong-Esiedu on the show in respect of this matter. But also on the bill, Junior Speller is a nationwide spelling bee competition organized by the Born Heroes Foundation. Now in its 5th edition, and due to the positive impact the program continues to make in the lives of the participants, we now have over 3,000 spellers on board. Now, thanks to the partnership we have with Joy Prime, the program now reaches every part of the country and beyond. We'll bring you details of that later on the show. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so get interactive with us. Let us know what is on your mind and share your thoughts with us on the discussions we're going to be having. On that note, we settle for the news up next. Thank you for staying. The News Belt up next. And in our first story, flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, is recommending the addition of more bonds to government's debt restructuring. He says doing so for the 7-year Dachi bond will free up money for the Get Fund projects in educational institutions. Mr. Mahama is promising to take necessary steps to complete stalled projects in the educational sector. Nana Ojima has been following the Building Ghana tour to the Ahafo region and filed this report.
Government has borrowed money against the Get Fund. And so, money that should have come into the Get Fund to pay contractors who are working on projects in your colleges and your secondary schools has been taken in advance through the 7-year Dachi bond.
Dachi Trust PLC is a special purpose vehicle incorporated as a public limited liability company to, among others, issue debt securities for the purpose of financing the construction of educational infrastructure and refinancing the Get Fund debts.
So currently the Get Fund has no money to pay contractors who are working on projects in your schools.
The Building Ghana tour, which seeks concerns of various groupings, have made stops in some educational institutions. Key among issues raised by students and staff is inadequate infrastructure.
When you have a good look at the school, it's a very nice environment, but due to lack of infrastructure, the men do go to Mahama to lodge.
So as you come today, students of St. Joseph College of Education is asking that you come to our aid, help complete this multi-purpose building.
In response, the former president points to the government's indebtedness to contractors on these projects as reason for the stalled projects. The NDC flag bearer prefers solution.
And so what we're saying is that the Dachi bond should be added to the debt restructuring to free up the money to come into the GET fund again, so that we can build hostels for you, we can build classrooms for you, we can build dining halls for you, we can build administration blocks for you, and put the infrastructure in place so that you can have a good learning experience in this college.
In reviewing the free SHS policy, the former president says feeding grants for some students will be reversed to heads of institutions.
Free SHS there, Abba. And so I'll see a no send a bear, you been home for so ye. And no teacher and a kind. Also, crochet, your name could I need the and yet. And it was a Ober co schooler. Sika Ober say, Oberto Adriana Mana Akudi Ewo School, a bro school fees are not yet triano. And she shall my and say, we are school paying here, one our school, no so a headmaster. Only quite so Oberto Adriana Mana. Yet, Adriani free, baby, a friend of buffer stock. Neto de be Adriana ma, and Quadano Edacom. Enti, Yeba, say buffer stock no, Emma Adriana no, Yabejisa, 2 meno, near the ma school headmaster no. Enti Sikanaba headmaster no, na Omodia to Adriani Aman Quadano.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, is entreating the electorate to consider the track record of candidates who put themselves up for election.
Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Bakoso ya frano President John Dramani Mahama. Womunyina muni mobia subai mebwa. Dia wana mwa ocha sodo sa na yenye commission bia da munim. Enunti dia ka so betra konwa so a omobosia na yedi tobu to see wa eno ne yedi beji sika de aya akwai me pa cha umunim no awa betra konwa so a tobu to watcham na bosia so wabura wamfanya de pa binti no ene e ka mene Ghana fo a wi asi nyina wa mo fra ye enkadene chasa oda ye ka ye ntimi ntua enti ne sa no adwuma wo ho eno noa ni suban wada na di wo man mu so ka asem eba mu ana emamu no momfa ntoto de President Mahama so ka se eba mu ana emam na mo weso na mo nto aba
Well, from politics, let's talk development. The Ghana Boundary Commission is hosting a maiden experience sharing workshop on the development and operationalization of national boundary structures for some South African Development Commission countries and representatives of Ethiopia. The commission was chosen as a result of its impressive work in boundary issues in Africa. Speaking at the workshop, National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, said the commission was ready to share its success story to encourage and empower boundary commissions in other African countries.
The main objective of the workshop is to add to the strengthening of the capacities of the Boundary Commission of the targeted countries for decision-making on border or boundary governance. Among others, it will also include, but not limited to, having a continent with well-resourced national boundary institutions for the effective execution of their mandates. National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, says the workshop will also discuss lessons learned and make proposals for what should be changed or reinforced.
It's meant to assist the Southern African Development Cooperation countries to establish structures for their boundary commissions. And apart from the Southern African country, it includes Ethiopia. Now, what is happening is that the German government, using the conduit of GIZ, is trying to encourage a number of African countries to establish boundary commissions. Ghana's boundary commission is a success story in Africa alongside a few countries. As a result of that, they've selected Ghana to host this experience sharing workshop so that the various countries who are coming would be able to learn from our story so that they can establish boundary commissions that would assist clearly in the activities of cross-border cooperation along the African continent and in line with the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation. The selection of Ghana is because of the success story of the Ghana Boundary Commission. The Ghana Boundary Commission has been able to establish itself. We have a number of frameworks that has established the Boundary Commission. We have got strategic plans. We've got various frameworks that makes the Ghana Boundary Commission one of the outstanding commissions, boundary commissions in Africa. Apart from that, the success story is related to the activities that we have conducted with our neighboring countries, both maritime and the land sector with our neighboring countries, and various meetings and conferences that the Ghana Boundary Commission have participated and deposited the various documents relating to our maritime domain.
Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister in charge of Forestry, Benito Usubio, says soon a bill will be sent to Parliament to enable the Ghana Boundary Commission to also deal with internal boundary disputes.
Until just 2021, it was just a commission, but it was only on paper. But then when the current coordinator was appointed, he transformed the entire boundary commission for it to be actually performing its mandate. Currently, this success story has gone round and is being admired by all countries across Africa, to the extent that others also want to come and experience what we are doing here, especially with the Ghana Boundary Commission. We started with our neighboring countries, that's the Togo, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast. For instance, even people in Ghana still see them as the ones that should deal with internal boundary disputes. This is an area that is not within their mandate or scope, but we've asked them, and they think they are up to the task, to the extent that very soon we shall be presenting to Parliament a new bill, yes, which has actually been approved by Cabinet, a new bill that is going to reform the Ghana Boundary Commission to even include some aspects of internal boundary dispute resolutions as well, so that it helps everybody in Ghana.
Surveyor and Director General of the National Boundary Commission of Nigeria, Adamu Adaji, says he's impressed with the work of the Ghana Boundary Commission.
It's a very novel idea and very, very commendable, because it's important that the African states establish their boundary commissions for effective management of their boundaries, of the various boundaries, and promotion of integration and cooperation amongst the African states. So it's a very good one, and we're happy to be here to share of our experiences with our other sister countries in Africa.
Well, on our next story, ECOWAS has started a 5-year strategic plan to ensure rapid and effective data sharing for emergency preparedness and responses among member states. The Risk Communication and Community Engagement Network will enhance public health emergencies and the outbreak of infectious diseases. There's more in this report.
Deputy Minister of Health Mahama assessed that community engagement is crucial in the control and treatment of disease outbreaks. He said that there is a need to research effective communication strategies to reach communities with information in times of outbreak.
We've developed a pilot at Hohoi where the communities can talk straight to the facility at Okwe. Even you can have Victoria. That's why we have moved to Agenda 1.1 to make sure that every district is ready when there are outbreaks. And when there are outbreaks, we know exactly what to do. We should be alert and take a lot of precaution and preventive measures. We need to live. Life has no substitute.
Chairperson of the ECOWAS Risk Communication and Community Engagement Network, Dr. Costa Abuaji, revealed that officials from the ECOWAS region are engaging first ladies from all 15 ECOWAS countries to take up ambassadorial roles in risk communication. He stated that the RCCE has put in place plans to make funding readily accessible to the ECOWAS countries in times of outbreaks of infectious diseases.
Normally, in disease outbreak, other disease areas such as laboratory, surveillance, and case management are given priority. It is now time to focus financial resources on the risk communication in our various countries, because diseases starts actually from communities and ends in the community. So we cannot ignore the importance of communities and risk communication. We're going to have a new strategy, a 5-year strategy to guide us. Engagement of the first ladies as ambassadors for risk communication. First, we went to Zambia. We engaged the first lady and the vice, and they have now accepted to be advocates. We then moved to Sierra Leone, and we did the same.
If sustained, the Risk Communication and Community Engagement Network could properly position the region in the event of an outbreak. Rejoice Semefakpesi's report read to you.
Let's talk health now. Ghana will start manufacturing tuberculosis and malaria vaccines by the second quarter of next year. Speaking at the launch of the short course in clinical research methods in tuberculosis in Kumasi, the Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, disclosed the vaccines would be produced at the National Vaccine Institute to improve the health system.
Dr. Nsiasare also mentioned that the European Union has supported Ghana with 32 million euros to produce vaccines.
We realized that during the COVID vaccines period, we had a lot of problems of COVID, of a vaccine, geopolitics, nationalism, and we didn't, even though we want some, we didn't have. So we decided that we shall join the Pan-African Vaccine Manufacturing Initiative, and Ghana will be a vaccine manufacturing hub in Africa. And God being so good, there are 2 factories. One of them is finished, and as we speak now, the processes of manufacturing or doing fill and finish for anti-snake vaccines is ongoing in one of the plants as we speak now. The other one has come out of the substructure, and we are hoping that by second quarter of next year, it will start producing at least fill and finish, and then from the upstream to downstream, its own vaccines. And TB vaccines will be one of the vaccines that will be producing in Ghana. The good thing is that we shall also be doing fill and finish, and also the drug product, and then fill and finish for the endemic malaria areas for the new for the new R21 malaria vaccines in Ghana.
The short course in clinical research methods in tuberculosis is an initiative by the GlaxoSmithKline in partnership with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The course is expected to build the capacities of young researchers and guide them in asking the right questions to combat tuberculosis. Pro-Vice Chancellor of KNUST, Professor Ellis Osudabo.
And it was clear in some of our regions across the country, many of our pregnant women had TB and did not know. The infection obviously is rife and amongst us. All you need is a certain predisposition that reignites the disease. Those predispositions are well documented. Poverty is only the epitome of those precursors that I was talking about. A person who is poor will not be able to afford good nutrition and therefore would result in one of the precursors to pulmonary tuberculosis.
Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Mrs. Rita Kusia-Dixon, encouraged the participants to forge strong networks. Reporting with Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Well, staying on health, the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit at the Winchi Methodist Hospital in the Bono region is advocating the involvement of men in the kangaroo mother care of preterm babies. Leaders at the unit say kangaroo mother care could be done by anybody apart from the mothers, hence the need to get fathers involved to keep their babies warm. Head Dr. Solomon Chemogo has been speaking with Joy News' Nesta Kafui Ajoma at Winchi.
The Neonatal Intensive Care Unit of the Winchi Methodist Hospital is sensitizing mothers to ensure that they practice the kangaroo mother care for the survival of their preterm babies. Dr. Chemogo explained that the kangaroo mother care combines skin-to-skin contact with exclusive breastfeeding for the babies. He emphasized the key success of survival in preterm babies is regular KMC or skin-to-skin contact, hence the need for the men to get involved.
We've had about 100 preterm babies from the beginning of this year up to now. And as part of our awareness creation for this year's Prematurity Celebration Month, we want to drum home the message that small actions yields bigger impact. And we are focusing on immediate skin-to-skin everywhere. Studies have shown that when we do skin-to-skin, the baby's temperature is stabilized. It helps them in their weight gain, and then it even stabilizes or it helps to improve their breathing, or it prevents them from having breathing difficulties. So I want to advise the public that skin-to-skin also helps in the survival of premature babies, and it can be done everywhere, even when they go home. And it can also be done by anybody the father of the baby can do. So my fellow men, please assist your wives to help with the skin-to-skin. This can help to keep the babies warm and can help in their overall survival.
Dr. Chemogo appealed for support to a spacious facility to house the preterm babies to avoid congestion, which could cause infection and lead to death among the babies.
Now, the country manager of the International Development Enterprise, Abdul Momin Damba Tahidu, says his outfit is worried about the unfair treatment meted out to women who want to venture into farming. He's asking the relevant authorities to remedy the situation. Here's Rafiq Salam's report from the 3rd Annual Farmer Exchange Program at Tindomo in the Wa West District.
The International Development Enterprises, IDE, for the 3rd year running, has held a farmer exchange program. Farmers from their operational locations across the country were brought in to share ideas, challenges, and for them to plan ahead for the succeeding seasons. Input dealers, output marketers, technical experts, and officials of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture were also brought in to share their experience and for them to learn best farming practices to improve on their farming activities. Country manager of IDE, Abdul Momin Damba Tahidu, threw further light on the program.
These smallholder farmers should be able to exchange ideas about what is not working within their communities, and also to learn from each other about what is working in their respective locations and how they can actually leverage on each other's learning to improve what they are experiencing. The other thing we are hoping they should be able to build on is resilience. We believe there is so much power in building the right relationship. Our key question is, who are the right stakeholders the smallholder farmers should be building relationship with, and how can we facilitate that relationship? So these are really some of the things we want to learn. We want to build visibility with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture through this program and to ensure that we are building the right relationship with the smallholder farmers, the agric extension agents, the farm business advisors, and all the key stakeholders that should enhance a market ecosystem that supports all actors to thrive.
At the moment, Tahir expressed worry over challenges that rural farmers are faced with, calling on the government to help fix them to ameliorate their sufferance.
I think gender is critical. There are actually existing norms within the community, which is sidelining critical members within the communities to be able to participate effectively within the communities. And so as much as possible, some of the challenges we have faced is women do not have access to capital. Women do not have access to land. Women do not have access to some of the fundamental needs required for them to play an active role in agriculture. And so these are some of the challenges we have faced. The role of women in the community goes beyond just domestic activities.
That's the note on which we end the news, but stay with us. Up next is the news review. Well, it's some 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you for staying with us. We get into the news review now. Right before I introduce my guest for this segment, let me just let you know, as always, I got an interesting call yesterday from an oncologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Look, if you're a man, don't take your prostate for granted. It's a walnut-shaped, organ, very small. But if things go wrong with it, if things go south with it, the sort of problems it could give you, you could do without it, they say, but it's better you have it. Because even in terms of your, how would I even put this? In terms of your fertility, so to speak, or your reproductive system as a man, you need it. It produces the fluid that your semen, works with to ensure that you can actually have children. So don't take it for granted. It's there for a reason. If you're a woman, your fertility status, do you know? If there are any developments around your womb, if you are developing fibroids, who knows? You don't want to be there someday and all of a sudden, boom, you're in crisis. And that's why I'm recommending this morning that you make your way to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Here's why. On both counts, whether you're a man and you want to screen your prostate or you're a woman and you want to check your fertility status, you can get those screenings for free. Here's where you can locate Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic across Ghana. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. The Stakradi Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zema. If you'd like to call them, I suggest you do. The numbers are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But that only helps us start the news review segment. I'm pleased to have on board Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is a political scientist. He also happens to be director of the Center for the European Studies at the University of Ghana. We've just lost him. We'll try to reconnect with him and get him back on the drawing board. But some of the matters we're discussing this morning on the show. Parliament is debating the 2024 budget. I'd like you to share with me. And if you don't find the live stream, there's something with Facebook nowadays. So Joy News on Facebook. I hear that there have been some changes effected, which see that when you go on Facebook, you may not see the live feed of this. I don't know, for some segments. But you can go to videos under Joy News and you'll be sure to get that. So share with me. What do you out there as a business person or whoever, what do you make of the 2024 budget? Was it exciting? Was it what you expected? What do you think it will do for us come 2024? And then again, looking at these two political parties, the NDC and the MPP, former President Mahama, current Vice President Bawumia, and what they've been saying out there. Are you convinced by what they are saying? What do you think about the policies? What do you think about what they stand for? But Dr. Bawumia has gone, digital and this and that, and we're going to do better for the economy. But what has he done so far? The former president has said a 24-hour economy and scrapping licensure exams, but modifying it, among others. Do you subscribe to that? Let me know. Shoot me your messages. Let me welcome back Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Ben. How are you, my brother?
I am very well, sir. It's fitting to call you sir today. Let me go back to my school days since you're my former lecturer. But it's really good to have you. I don't know what your take is on those two matters I just put forward. 2024 budget, I don't know how much of it you've looked at, but what do you think of it? And secondly, the bit about Dr. Bawumia going about for his thank you tour, the former President Mahama also touring the nation, and some of the things they've been saying. Are you, as a political scientist, are you convinced, or is it just the usual propaganda?
Let me address the second one, because at the weekend I had to bury my senior brother, so I've not followed the whole process of the budget.
Right.
But at least I am in touch with the tour and then matters arising. If you look at the Vice President's comment relative to what John Mahama said about the 24-hour economy. I'm not an economist, but from just pure commonsensical position. I mean, there is something worth knowing from John Mahama. Countries all over the world, and I'm talking about advanced democracies.
Right.
You come across a society where the 24 hours the state is running, people are working day and night, so to speak. Ghana is one of the countries where we sleep. We work for a certain period of time, we all go to sleep. The night, only few organizations, group work. But if I got JM's message right, he wants to be able to place the country in such a manner that after working for a number of hours, others will also continue from where they left off, so that the whole day and night is utilized for something beneficial for this country. This is a welcoming news. More often than not, you tend to have people who go to work from 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. to close. What happens after 8 p.m.? In other jurisdictions, that is where other groups also go in. They clock in and go and work till the next morning and all that. So if this suggestion is made, why do you want to treat it as a non-issue, something that we already know? Where do we know it? I mean, the fact that Momo operators work, other bodies, also police service and all the rest work. He's saying that I'm expanding the frontiers of this conversation to include a whole sector. What is wrong about this? I don't get it. So the issue is that if you don't have ideas, remember that election is a contest of ideas. And in addition to this, a referendum of your way. So people must demonstrate that they have ideas, and then we interrogate the issue. So I am happy that it has started this way. It is my hope and prayer that we have what issue-based conversation. Sometimes there's political actors who will not give it to us, but you and I owe it a duty to ourselves by forcing them to toe that line, by discussing issues. So that I believe that it is appropriate to call for what? A debate, so that that will set the tone for the conversation of what the issues that confront us in society. Because if you leave them, sometimes they throw away salient issues and go for very peripheral issues that do not help anybody. So I believe that the conversation has started in earnest. Let us all look at them and then also direct them to where they ought to be. I think that will make the campaign very useful.
What would be your reaction, though? Because I remember it was yesterday or so in the Daily Graphic, I read Dr. John Osai Kwapong of the CDD saying the economy is going to be the most important issue, it's going to be a crucial issue as far as the decision of voters is concerned. You look at Liberia, and I'm going to keep saluting, as someone who has been in that country, I'm going to keep saluting George Weah for what he's done, conceding peacefully and everything happening. But the economy, he was brought in, they felt he was so young, he would do so many things. It didn't happen. He's been ousted. The economy is going to be crucial, according to Dr. Osai Kwapo. Then you look at Fitch Solutions. It says Ghana's fiscal deficit is going to widen in 2024. And then you have the likes of Frank Edu, a former Cowbank head, Alhassan Andani, Stanbic head, saying we are a nation in crisis. And they believe Ghana hasn't had leaders. You put that side by side with Dr. Patrick Esuming. Yesterday he was at the Stanbic graphic breakfast meeting. And he says this IMF program is the most costly, the most expensive to ordinary Ghanaians that we've ever had. On that trajectory, what do you see as far as the economy is concerned? That's the last thing I'll throw at you before we get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
I think what Dr. Osai Kwapo is saying is not new. We know already. If you follow voter choices, the literature, all right, you find that the most important factor that voters consider in all elections in this country, is what? The economy. The economy is a game changer because you and I know that when the economy improves, unemployment is dealt with. When the economy improves, infrastructure development is taken care of, and a host of other things. So research has shown that irrespective of party tradition, ideology, and the rest of them, people use the economy as a benchmark for assessing who is fit for the highest public office. And so it's not going to be new, but that is going to gain more currency given the fact that we are now in the bosom of the IMF and all the conditions attached to it and all that. These are going to be brought to the fore to the ordinary man and then discussed at length to bring everybody alive to the problem. And this is where we also expect ideas that will take us out of IMF and then so that we can be all self-sufficient and work to redeem ourselves and improve our lot and create conditions, better conditions for ourselves. So the economy has been a very important issue all the time. And this time around, because of the condition we find ourselves, we are going to harp on it.
Thank you for those thoughts shared. Let's get into the papers now. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Bloody chieftaincy clash at Wanchiki. 7 killed, others injured. Houses torched, many flee. And you can see the picture, the chief's car with a damaged windscreen. I'll bring you details of that story. Non-functioning streetlights, 20 traffic controllers, 31 cables vandalized in Accra. What a country. I mean, how is it even possible to do this? Ghana records $200 million trade surplus in first half. That's according to a trade report. And there's recapitalized distressed state entities to propel growth. That's according to the ICU. On the back page, some sporting news. Black Stars fall to Comoros in World Cup qualifier. At this point in time, you begin to wonder. I believe it's the second time this year that they've fallen to this side. True, you cannot take any team now for granted. I think it is North Macedonia or one of those teams that drew only yesterday or so with England. So you can't take any team for granted. But I feel it is high time we did quite a lot of tweaking with our national team. They are not delivering. And I don't know why some of these players are so selfish. They will not pass to Iñaki Williams. I don't know what it is. Because this guy is good. He plays in the La Liga. He's very good. I don't know what metrics are at play. There are excellent players that will never make it into the national team because of we all know what. You need someone to know someone to do this and to pay that person off. Once we keep doing this and not put our best foot forward, we will continue with this curse, so to speak, on the Black Stars. We spend so much money in there. The least they can do is put smiles on our faces. And I'll also add this. Those players that are a bit too old, that need to step aside, they've paid their dues. Come on, step aside. You don't need to be told. Anyway, hearts break stubborn Accra Lions. I don't know whether you have any take on the Black Stars, Dr. Kwame Asante, before I start reading the other stories.
I am worried because I used to be a football enthusiast. Love soccer so much. It is some of these things that has really put me in where I am, that now I don't want to gravitate towards soccer anymore. You put all your hopes in the Black Star, and all that you get is pain. And if you don't take a heart attack, it's unfortunate. The politics within the GNFC, I don't know when it will end. We have heard these stories time and again, that there are good players, they will not fail them. There are competent referees, they will, coaches, they will not bring them on board. There are ABC that affect the team. We are alive to this. I am wondering why we have not even started to dealing with the problems. And every time we compound the problem with another problem, and the story is too well to know for us to recount it here. So I think we as a society too, we have left the management of the team to a few people without voicing out seriously. Let us remember that the team, we own the team. We finance the team. So we must take serious interest in that. Once they go for tournaments, they perform abysmally, they come home, we welcome them, console them, and a whole lot, and then we go to sleep. But the self-introspection is missing. The critical assessment that ought to be done is always missing. Left with a few pundits, the commentators, and all that. We as a society should remember that we invest so much in the Black Star. So if they are not delivering, it must be a problem or of concern to all of us. And it is from that background that we begin to appreciate the enormous problems that we have in the Black Star, and then the way to dealing with it. If we want to shy away from it, only to come in when they are playing match, when they win, and then we glorify them and the rest of them, we will not be doing the team any service. I think the time is now for us to act, and act very fast.
Thank you for those thoughts. Now, on page 3, bloody chieftaincy clash at Wanchiki, 7 killed, others injured, houses torched, and many flee. At least 7 persons, including an aged woman, have been killed and several others injured in renewed chieftaincy clashes at Wanchiki in the Trepwane district of the Northeast region. Multiple houses have been burnt to ashes, while many residents, mostly women and children, have fled to the district capital, Trepwane, and neighboring Togo for their safety. The incident was said to have happened after an attack on the chief of Wanchiki, Na Abuba, who was on his way to Nalerigo for a meeting. Confirming the incident to the Ghanaian Times in a telephone interview, Na Abuba said he was attacked at Dambu on his way to attend a meeting together with Vice President Alhaj Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia at Nalerigo for his thank you tour. When I got to Dambu, a farming community near Wanchiki, I noticed that people had mounted roadblocks with car tires. I became suspicious and asked my driver to reverse the car, but it was too late. They shot their guns towards my direction, which destroyed the windscreen of my car, the chief said. Na Abuba said clashes erupted when the people of Wanchiki heard about the attack on his life and rushed to the scene with arms to retaliate in a sort of reprisal. He says, quote, "My own son lost his life in the gun battle, and presently, or currently I should say, I cannot tell the number of people who lost their lives in the gunshots, like he is quoted to have said." He described the incident as unfortunate, adding that the people of Wanchiki were peace-loving and would not engage in violent activity. So that's the latest there. The DISEC, the District Security Council, has commenced investigations into the incident and given the assurance that, quote, "whoever is found guilty will be dealt with accordingly." In our news yesterday at noon on radio, we also, had some interactions on that matter. But Doc, these issues, whether you're talking of whether it's about, there's this other place in the Volta region, which doesn't readily come to mind, the Alavanyo Nkonya area, it's been pretty peaceful over a while, arms, proliferation, or these other pockets. I get really worried as a student of national security. I get really worried about some of these developments and how we've not been able to put a firm finger on them to tame them. with the insurgency going on in the sub-region, I am very concerned. I don't know what your take is on these matters.
Yeah, I am also worried about this situation. And if you look at chieftaincy problems, I want us to look at it from the perspective of what, conflict analysis. We always have to go to the root cause of the problem. More often than not, we look at the issue and then the superficial aspect will go away. Oh, the people are fighting. Is this, is that? What is the root cause? If you really want to deal with chieftaincy or any conflict or any problem whatsoever, you go to the root cause. You find out. Then you begin to look at it and look at it holistically. You will see that sometimes it's just family feud that are aggravated to that level. Sometimes you realize what the dirty hands of government in chieftaincy matters. Sometimes you see other political actors also coming to play. You will find these factors very prominent in chieftaincy crisis and this one. Sometimes the institutions that are tasked to deal with chieftaincy matters themselves also have their own problems related to this issue. So it's a mix of problems, but the state has not taken the trouble to deal with it because sometimes you see that the state is even complicit in the matter. Sometimes you see some big political actors are complicit in the matter. Sometimes you realize that the institutions that are supposed to handle these things are themselves problematic. So they compound the issue. I don't know the root cause of this problem and all that, but I'm speaking generally. And that is the worry that we have, right? Especially when you have the hand of government in such matters, then it's a problem. I'm not saying that this one, the government has a hand in it. I don't know the cause of that. But sometimes when you see the hand of government, it creates there are a whole lot of places that you see, we have seen in this country time and again, where government dirty hands are in and they create problems. And society pretends that they have not seen such a hand working behind the scenes to disrupt society. They only come, oh, people are doing this, people are doing that. And then it goes off. Then it festers and then it blows in our face and all that. So we need to do proper self-introspection, and then we as a society must also be interested. Sometimes when these things are happening in other places, we think that it's not within our society. We are far off from that problem, so we don't give a hoot about that. But tell you, give yourself time. If these problems don't get resolved, they'll drag to your doorstep.
Right.
So we all of us must show interest in this thing and then get to the bottom, get to the end, so as to find lasting solutions to this problem.
Right. Let me quickly do this. Doc, in the next maybe 7 minutes, we should be able to get through quite a number of stories. But let me acknowledge this. Bernard Akwe, you say you're watching live from Jankobo. Thank you very much. There's also Dondo Sombare. You say, good morning, Johnny. He's watching you live from Wa, Upper West Region. Loud and clear. In fact, please, you're doing a great job for the people in the regions to help us access the country. Keep it up. Well, we'll continue doing that for all of you. That's what we stand for. On page 3, again, I'll just take headlines from some of the major stories. Major Mahama's uncle confronts defense lawyer. You know, the defense lawyer for some of the accused against Major Mahama, those who took his life, has claimed that they did it in self-defense. And Major Mahama's uncle has taken great exception to that. There's also this one. Nano Hininto, I did no wrong in supporting Alan for president, the former general secretary of the MPP. You know, he together with the likes of Abubakar Sadiq, there's also Hobson Adoye, and there's another person. Let me see whether I can find who the person is. 4 of them. So there's Boniface Sadiq Abubakar, there's Nano Hininto, there's Yabwabena Samwa. Yes, that's the other name. All of them have been expelled from the MPP. Basically, the letter from the General Secretary said, by lending their support to someone other than the person approved by the party, Dr. Bawumia, per the party's constitution, they have basically on their own expel themselves from the party. And that statement is simply to reiterate that. I don't know what your take is on that, but the story I'm going to do, Ghana records $200 million trade surplus in first half. When there are good things, we have to highlight those as well. And Ghana recorded a trade surplus of $200 million in the first half of the year. The Ghana Statistical Service trade report has revealed. This implies that the country last exported more products than it imported into the country. In the first half of the year, the country exported products to the tune of $8.1 billion and imported products to the tune of $7.9 billion, with most imports coming from China. Of course, gold and mineral fuels and oils were the leading exports in the first half of the year, representing more than half. That is 64% of exports in 2023. And that's what we have to. Imagine Ghana not depending only on gold and these other minerals, and even the black gold. I'm talking about oil. Imagine expanding beyond that, what that could do for our economy. Your quick thoughts on these matters, and then we move to the next paper, Doc.
I'll start with the four that are sacked from the MPP, the butterfly boys.
Right.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with the party expunging their name from the list of their followers. It's normal. Political parties are organized based on rules and regulations. And if you flout any, you are visited by appropriate punishment. This is a punishment that is ascribed in their constitution. So if it is given to them, there's nothing wrong about that. They themselves have announced that they are out of the political party. You can be out of the political party and you still have your name in the books of that political party. It creates a problem. So if they have sacked them, there is nothing wrong with that. Those who also left the party and they are with the butterfly movement, there's nothing wrong. They're taking that decision. We always go to political parties as a way of ensuring that certain interests are catered for and certain programs are developed for the benefit of the ordinary man. If we don't get our interests served, why do we continue to be in there? So sometimes I get worried when the parties want to pin people down in that type of bogus, document that you have to sign that if you don't win election, you continue to stay. You are a law student. That's what you people call unconscionable contract. You engage in that. Those are blackmail tools that always pin people down to where they don't want to be.
But do you think, looking at it, I mean, we've never had a time when so much division, as far as you can, I stand to be corrected, I stand corrected if there's any, that there have been so many schisms. Yes, Alan has left the party before. This would be the second time. But he stepped aside. We've seen the rancor, as far as Kennedy Japong is concerned. We've seen all those who were contending Baumia, at least the last five or so, point to manipulation, the use of other tactics to secure the win for a certain candidate. Now we are seeing some of them in a very uncharacteristic manner lending their support to someone apart from the party's flag bearer. What does that mean for the MPP?
It is normal. It's not new. What it means is that there are people, when you are undertaking internal party contest, they have every right to belong to whatever they want to belong to. But if at the end of the exercise, the people they follow, they supported, decide to leave the party, they are not ready to leave the party because they believe that political parties are more important than movement and the rest of them. Some of them too is based on their own dreams and aspirations and all that. But they see the party as the omnipotent, the all-important entity. So any other decision that would take them out of this type of family, they are not ready for it. So it's not surprising. It's normal that you have people who support one candidate. As soon as the person leaves, they are not going to live with the person. They are going to stay. It tells you how the attachment people have to political parties as opposed to individuals and others. And this goes to give you an idea as to the strength of political parties within the political space of Ghana compared to individuals who want to go on their own to champion certain cause. That's why they are always weak. The political parties are much stronger.
Right. Okay, so let's wrap with this clutch of stories and then we're done. The Daily Guide newspaper, Afoko's third trial set for December the 5th, and this Afoko trial has gone on forever. It's like the JB Dankwedu issue as well. Speaker's residence not sold. In recent times, he came out about some, but I find it interesting because the Daily Guide seems to be going on a rampage when it comes to this. He never said it was sold. He said it came close to being sold, that he found out, and of course, that wasn't carried out. Bawumia fires Mahama over 24-hour economy. We've already spoken about this. And I think sometimes the papers themselves also engage in a lot of propaganda rather than delving into the core issues. 8 dead in Nkwanta clashes, curfew imposed. We've already looked at that story. Let me wrap with the final newspaper. Yagbonwura inskins Dr. Bawumia as chief of Unity. That's on his thank you tour. Customs seizes illicit tobacco products worth 7.9 million Ghana cedis. And maybe the one I want to focus on briefly. All hands on deck needed to execute 2024 budget. That's according to Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah. But the question is, with all the concerns about the budget, will you force the hands to get on deck? Your take as we wrap, Doc.
Yeah, all hands on deck to support the 2024 budget. Yes. This is the financial statement of the government. It is composed of 2 things, expected revenue and expenditure. If we feel that there is some aspect of the expenditure which we don't share, obviously people will not support that aspect. Those they believe they are genuine and that they will bring smiles to the faces of people and give us hope and the means of livelihood. Why will people shy away from this? So all these things will come up in the debate of the budget. But Mr. Minister should just be calm and allow people to exercise their rights. It's not the case that a budget is thrown out there so everybody supports. No. It's going to be interrogated and then critically assessed. So if at the end of the day they feel that it's a budget worth maintaining, why not? If not, they will vote against it. It's a normal practice in Parliament. It ensures value for money, and 2, it promotes our priority over any other interest that is not necessary.
Right.
And above all, it also provides the focus and direction of government. And here I'm talking about the policy direction of government. So all these things put together are going to inform we as to whether we support the budget or throw it into the lake of fire.
Well, the difference in Parliament is 1 vote, and the minority has said that even if it comes down to that thin wire, they will vote on conscience against certain aspects of the budget, and if the majority goes ahead to vote for it, at least their hands will be clean in the matter that they did not subscribe to some of what has been proffered. A few days ago, I had an interaction with business, big business, and they said, there was nothing really in this budget to celebrate, but it is our budget, and we'll see how it goes. This also, interestingly, reminds me of what actually led to the political demise of Hilal Liman, Dr. Hilal Liman, that infamous budget that eventually led to his ouster. Anyway, that's it, Doc.
You realize that political parties and, their actors have not got the courage to throw budgets away when they are not fit for purpose. We urge them to do that so that when government is taking the trouble to prepare budget, it will, tighten all the bolts and knots so that they pass the real test of the society.
And we see, even in the UK, when, what's his name? The Ghanaian who was it something Kwarteng?
Yes. Kwesi
Kwarteng. You see, he had to be sacrificed. The costs are real. Things had to be taken out, retweaked. He had to be sacrificed. He was sacked. One of the fastest we've ever seen. But in our part of the world, our thinking is very different. But Doc, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. Always making it fantastic.
I wish you a good day.
All right. That is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist, director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. This message is from Kwame Jumo Ajeman, a former colleague of mine, wonderful guy. He says, happy birthday loads to Mrs. Efua Arthur of First Atlantic Bank. Have a good one, little sister. And that is from Kwame Jumo Ajeman to Mrs. Efua Arthur, First Atlantic Bank. happy birthday to you. If you're anywhere watching us celebrating your birthday today or any special anniversary, well, we celebrate you as well. Right before we get into sports, this segment is brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free fertility screening for women. If you'd like to take advantage, just reach them at any of their branches here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronuma here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanzo and Esiaman Zima. You can reach them in all of these places. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. Do stay. Welcome aboard, welcome back on the AM show, and we get into our big stories. Now today, first on the chopping board, we're going to be contemplating Parliament, which has started its debate of the 2024 budget presented by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. We'll be delving into that today on the show. Again, flag bearers of both major political parties, the MPP with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the opposition NDC with John Dramani Mahama, have hit the ground running. Dr. Bawumia has embarked on his thank you tour. Former President Mahama has also been going round, doing same in some respects, but also whipping up the interest of different members of the public in terms of what he has planned should he become president again. But are you convinced? What do you think? Well, we'll get into that conversation with our guest, Dr. Rashid Pelpool, Member of Parliament for Wa Central. Let me reiterate, whenever you see a conversation with one side represented and the other side not represented, it means we reached out to the other side and they did not give a representative. It happens on both sides every now and then. So if you don't see that side, it's because we tried and they didn't offer us any response. We can't compel anyone to be here. Dr. Pelpool, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you, my brother.
It's good to have you. It's been a while.
To see you. It's quite a while, yeah.
It's been a while since we last spoke, and a lot has happened in between.
Yeah.
But if just to set the tone for the conversation, if I asked you right now, from where you sit, before we even get into your constituency, when you look at Ghana, what picture do you see? What would you say?
I'm seeing a declining economy, a confused governance system where citizens are losing their rights and can even die without enough concern by government. I'm seeing an economy that is strangulated. It has gotten to a stop, a point where we can only go back and not go forward. And I'm seeing a situation where the managers of the economy think more about themselves than to think about the state. And in a situation where the youth is in danger of seeing their future ahead of them. It's a very sad story of a people who came to power believing that they are going to change the economy, they are going to make people happy, they are going to develop the private sector and create jobs for people, only for us to see what is happening now. I recall when the NDC, when we lost, there was a cry against us that the economy was growing at a small rate of 3.7%. Inflation was at 18.4%. The cedi was depreciating, and it was 3.8 to $1, and it was a concern. These were all concerns. Today, we are struggling to even reach 3% growth. We haven't gotten to 3% growth at 1.5%, and then we are struggling to manage inflation, which is at 35.2 now. And the cedi is gone far. I mean, you can't even imagine it's unstable. Some are saying it's 12.5, some are even saying it's gotten 13 and all that. So This is the stagnation and the drawback to our progress I'm talking about. I used to be a fan of watching, the league table in our GDP growth with other African countries. At one point, I was so impressed that we even got up to the 8th in Africa. Today, Tanzania has taken over, has beaten us. La Côte d'Ivoire has beaten us. We are even struggling to remain at the 11th level. And it's all a sad story. I mean, this is, take politics away, but we can't have our leaders run the government of Ghana this way. We can't have them make huge promises to the people and fail us this much. We can't have all the lies being told about how we want to progress, how they want to help us to progress, only for us to draw back, and for the same people still seeking to be in power.
Well, same could be said of the NDC as well. In the past, you've also disappointed in many different ways. But I'll leave you to reflect on that before I come back to you. Let me engage Nanaya Ojima. He is with Love 99.5 FM, and he's also been with the former president, John Dramani Mahama, on his tour. Let's find out what the former president has been up to. Nanaya, if you can hear me, where exactly are you, and what is the latest you can report on the tour of John Dramani Mahama? Hello, Nanaya, can you hear me? Okay, so we'll work the connection to get Nanaya Ojima on board, and as and when we get him, we'll actually find out what he has to share with us. Let me quickly come into the studio then, and even as we do this, there are some blowbacks, blasts from the past, even in respect of the former, the current vice president and some of what he said in years gone by, because we'll also be we'll be heavy on the 2024 budget as well, and what he said back then, sometime in 2015, about an alternative budget, now looking at how things are going. But we were on the point of, yes, you're saying that sometimes politicians make these wonderful, glorious promises as though they could come and wave a magic wand and everything would be settled. But your party is also guilty of saying.
Yeah, it is that, politicians are not superhuman beings. We are not angels. Sometimes we make promises and we can't fulfill those promises because of relativities, situations that you will not be able to control. But where the failures are persistent, consistent, and where the failures are not recognized by the same people who make those failures, and they keep making the failures and it defines them, the failure defines them, then it becomes a problem. Look at all the promises made, uttered by His Excellency Dr. Bawumia himself, and all the impudence all about it. He talked about how he's going to get money he wouldn't need to go to borrow money. Borrowing was condemned because we were borrowing. Look at the situation we find ourselves now. Now about 91%, or even close to about 100% of debt to GDP. Can you imagine that?
Fitch said at a point 99%, but I think that was revised to a bit lower. But coming anywhere close to 100% is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. And he's still making those promises. Bawumia is still making those kinds of promises. So they don't get a feel of their failure. They can't recognize that they are failing the people. He can't see that the things he's saying are also taken note by the people. And that I just watched something on social media yesterday when he said that the Zongo he's going to give the Zongo community about $50 million every year. Can you imagine that? $50 million every year, and that everybody will be fine. And today, not even today in the budget, they were able to provide only $1 million, and that's for administrative expenditure. So what is he always talking about? I also saw him making fun of John Mahama's promise of 24-hour economy.
Right.
And he said,
I was about to get there, but since you've started, yes, we can go there.
Yeah. He was saying this is something that is not doable and that it is not a good policy. Meanwhile, when he said it wasn't good, when he's talking about it not being good, he's the same person talking about the fact that it's already operating in some places. And he said it is not good. It can be legislated. When you made your promises to the people of Ghana, were they being legislated that there will be, now you are not going to construct the roads by asphalt or quota, you are not going to use concrete to construct roads. Was it legislated? You didn't even do something about it. We make promises and we fulfill them. Even if we don't get to the pinnacle, the finality of it, we promise them. John makes promises. John Dramani Mahama makes attempts and he gets to the point where Ghanaians can say he has done what he could. He did what he could. So it's so funny that such a person supposed to be a highly respected economist or somebody who should understand the system of political economy will fail in everything that he promises, and that he will create jobs and jobs and jobs. I watched another tape of his when he said they are going to improve the private sector, they will bring jobs to the people, and they will make sure there are jobs. And he kept repeating, jobs, jobs, and jobs. Where are they? Where is that private sector economy?
Is this a competition in less failure? Do you understand what I mean? Is this a competition in who failed less?
No, it is
because the NDC, respectfully, has also, led us down a very bad road in the past. The economy, among many other things that have not inured to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian. I do admit that where we are is rather precarious. In fact, listening to Dr. I'm just trying to get his name. He was speaking yesterday. Dr. Isuming, of the University of Ghana Business School. He was saying that this is going to be the costliest, the most expensive IMF package we've ever had in terms of what it's going to mean to the ordinary Ghanaian. But we've been down this road far too often. The exchange rate is inhibitive, unless, of course, you are earning in dollars or euros or pounds or something of the sort. I get the fact that things have really come to a head. But even when your side is in power, it's always somewhat shambolic. And I'm asking myself, is it just about choosing the lesser evil? Or is it about choosing an option that can really take us to that land flowing with milk and honey?
You can't have any economy in this world that can take you to the point where Ghanaians or the people want us to get to. But you can always have an economy or a government that takes you closer to it. Because you can't always get to the pinnacle, the final, the success you are looking for. You can't implement your policy to the fullest. But we want to see committed attempt to reach there, which is lacking in the present regime. And if you look at what we did and compare to what is happening now, it's like we were sipping milk and honey. If you look at the construction work we did, the management of the economy, the fear to go wrong, the punishment of people who do the wrong, the commitment by the head of state himself to make sure the right things were done, and the fear of corrupting the system, which was in all of us. I was a minister at the time, and the fear we had in being seen to be corrupting the system is all lost and gone in this particular regime. If you look at what we left behind, the economy we left behind, debt to GDP about 68%. It's like it would have been heavens for these people to get to that point. If you look at the perception of corruption, the worst John Mahama had, 42, is what is their best in this regime. If you look at the national reserves, international reserves, it's broken down. If you look at the cocoa industry, it's gone.
Recently, your side has had some cause to complain about some of the loans being contracted for cocoa purchases and all of that.
It's terrible.
You've had your concerns about that.
It's terrible.
And so, yes, there is a 24-hour economy, for example.
But let's talk about the cocoa.
Okay, so let's stay briefly on that. But then I also want you to break down for us.
Yeah.
I've heard different things from different places.
Yeah.
What will this really mean? Because if this is going to, and it's not necessarily cut and dry, that once you have a 24-hour economy, it's going to create more jobs. You must look at the different sectors, the enabling environment for private sector to even want to say, you know what, we want to do more than 12 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours and have more people on board. It comes with the right security, installations. It comes with so many other dynamics. That's a different conversation. You want to focus on cocoa briefly. Let's
when you mention the loan, Bloomberg is saying we are recording the highest interest on loans ever, the most expensive loans Ghana has taken at 8%, interest rate. Can you imagine that?
Why do you think that is? Because again, you know that because of where our economy is, because we've been cut out of the international, market when it comes to loans and all of that. In some of these areas, if you look at the risk factor, anyone giving you a loan will be giving you a loan at a hefty interest rate. You're fully aware of that, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But that defines the kind of economy we now have. It defines the administrative, the governance system we are operating. We have lost confidence in the international community. We can't go for that 2% loans. They used to give us. Ghana is a known cocoa producer in the world, second in the world, best in the world. And if you are going for a loan, all that should give recognition to the bank that this country is solvent, is capable of paying the loan, there's consistent supply of cocoa, and it can pay. But they don't have confidence in the people managing the economy. They don't have confidence in the system now. They have taken us through a system where Ghana was at the top there, now has sunk to a level where our respectability is gone. And let me tell you, at John Mahama's time, we produced cocoa at about 1 million metric tons. Today, how much is it? They are struggling to maintain it at 600,000 metric tons. And they have incurred so much cost in that respect, much more than any other. I hope you understand what I mean. The cost of getting cocoa to be exported, producing cocoa, getting it exported, the cost involved is the highest we have recorded ever. This year is ranging about 21 billion Ghana cedis. Can you imagine using $50 million Ghana cedis to go and buy torchlights?
Yes, I've followed that story.
So they don't care about the state. They care more about themselves. In fact, Ghanaians should talk more than we are speaking now. Ghanaians should get more angry, should be willing to get these people quickly out, should teach politicians that when you are good, we keep you. If you are bad, we take you away.
And it shouldn't just be a matter of getting them out or booting them out. It's always about, and then what? What's the alternative?
And then, let people suffer for what they have taken us through. Yeah, if we identify levels of corruption, inadequacies that are of criminal nature, they should be tried.
The issues of corruption and economic mismanagement you speak of, your party was also accused of that. My question then to you is, have you learned any lessons since that time?
Well, the big lesson we have learned is that we did well even in those situations where we were accused of these things, but we can still do more. And we should place ourselves in a position where we can do more than 100 times better than we did the last time, and meaning 200 times better than what these people are doing. And that, and I'm happy John Mahama, Excellency John Mahama, started talking about the number of ministers we are going to bring on board, and the cautions about expenditures, public expenditures, and all that. We have trained ourselves to be very careful when you are managing an economy, to be shy of being seen to be doing the wrong, to be committed in doing what will make the people happy, to invest in the lives of the people in projects, to close up the gap in our underdevelopment so that we can be a par in areas where we have, counterparts operating in the Committee of Nations. But these people don't think about it, and that's our problem, and that's my grief, that we have so much confidence in what the utterances they made before being voted in the office, and nothing shows that they are caring about the people of Ghana.
The thing is, if they had performed excellently well, your party wouldn't even stand a chance. And I'm sure you would have been happy with that. I mean, if they were doing so well that you knew your party didn't have a chance, would you be happy?
Yeah, but we will have something else to argue about for Ghanaians to look at to see whether we can do that better. But I would have wished that they do better. I have very close friends and relatives who are in NDC. But when Baumia and Nana were making all those pronouncements and saying they would do A, they would do B, nurses, this, that. My own people voted for them. And they explained to me why they did. Today they are regretting. And I met a businessman who wouldn't greet me because he said that in his time, it took him 6 months, 3 months to get his job, his certificate passed through and being paid. And the worst he suffered was in one certificate he did, it took him 6 months to finalize it because they kept telling him he was not doing the right thing. When he finally did the right thing, they paid him. And he was angry. He said he should have been paid within 1 month after he finished his job. He met me the other time and saluted me and said he was sorry for everything he has done. At least in NDC time, you suffer because if you stay too long, it will be your fault because you have to present the certificates as they are. Nobody is asking you for any 10% before they pay. You will take your money and then for some people, they go back and give. Now they tell you, pay money, then you pay. Then how to get the certificate is a problem. How to get the money is a problem. And he said he's so sorry he was always against the NDC because they were demanding something that we couldn't necessarily have been doing, for them. So when you look at all these things and compare to the present terrain, you realize that the torture in the business world is climbing to a point where they are even losing confidence in themselves.
Unprecedented, maybe, because we hear from the business community, the GNCCI, GUTA, the AGI, and we're not exactly in the best of places. But let's focus on that aspect. I'll come back later to some of the utterances that have been passed by your candidate, your flag bearer, and the NPP's flag bearer as well. There's a video that I want to play. When it's ready, I'll get the alert and we can play it. Because this tinkering, this toying, this teasing Ghanaians with outlandish promises sometimes and then leaving us in the lurch is creating a lot of problems. Now, I cannot share the full story, but someone in the academic circles shared with me just a few days ago about a taxi driver she sat in a vehicle with. And this taxi driver was saying that, look, things had become so bad that he would supposedly do something very bad if given the opportunity to sort of, that could, lead to some great disturbance in our country. And and she tried talking him out of it like, no, you can't do something of this. So I mean, the point she was startled about, he simply didn't care. And you see, what you don't want is to push people to the point where they don't care what happens. When you push a human being to that point, they could become terrorists. They could do anything to destabilize the system because they simply couldn't care less. And that's my problem with politicians in this country. But we'll get to that point. Let's talk about the budget. Okay, so then let's just, I hear the video is ready now. So instead of going to the parliamentary bit, let's hear what in 2015, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, now Vice President, now head of the economic management team, had to say. Watch this.
the reckless borrowing of this government has compromised the whole oil discovery. You need 6 times of our oil revenue just to pay interest, not even capital. It's interest on the debt. So it is a really sad development. I mean, what fundamental issues that affect this economy have been addressed in this budget? You should ask yourself, what fundamental issues? If we had spent, the monies borrowed, and that money borrowed is the equivalent of some $37 billion over 7 years. Now, can you imagine what $37 billion can do in an economy? $37 billion. I mean, it's amazing transformation that you can see.
The investment the government is talking about. We are going to add about 800 megawatts of power.
But we are talking about a record. You can always talk. We are going to do this. The question is, what have you done? You've had 7 years in government. What have you done? I mean, your record should speak for itself. You shouldn't be waiting for the 8th year. The IMF, they can point to even a lot. Oh, yes.
They will point to the Rich Hospital. They will point to
when the Kufuor administration was there, with such meager resources, so much can be pointed to as well. Infrastructure, as John Mahama says, if you point to infrastructure, you are engaging in an exercise of mediocrity. But the IMF managing director put the nail on the head when they said that the borrowing done by this government has been used for consumption. It's not me saying it. It's been used for consumption and not for investment. This is the IMF's assessment. And if you look at the data that supports what she's saying, the infrastructure to GDP ratio has come down from 9.1% when the President Kufuor was in office to 4.8% today. Infrastructure. You've borrowed so much, but you are reducing your investment in infrastructure. So they can try to hoodwink us with pictures of development all over the place. But the reality is that they should have been doing twice as much. They've had 10 times as much resources as the MPP government had, 10 times as much in nominal terms.
So what
of
is the
resources.
MPP alternative? I mean,
the MPP alternative is going to be, it's a very major alternative that is going to be unveiled on Thursday when we address
but you. Can speak to that.
I don't want to, of course I can, but I want to leave that to breathe. But we are going to build a new economy, a different economy. And you will be hearing a little bit more, because you cannot just criticize without providing alternatives. And we are going to, and we have anyway.
You can tell us something as to what exactly.
I'm telling you, it's an exciting. I will tell you what it is not. It is not a doomsday economy. It is not a dead goat economy. It is not a friends and family economy, right? It is an economy that will create jobs.
So there he was, the vice president, then the running mate. It's not a doomsday economy. It's not a friends and family economy. It's not an unemployment economy. And he asked the question, you've had 7 years in government. What have you done? It's interesting, right? 7 years in government. We could put that to the vice president right now. And that's why I get a bit frustrated with our politicians, NDC and NPP, because it appears to be the same tape, broken tape, over and over and over and over. And you know what they say, when 2 elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. We, the masses, the ordinary people, suffer. Back to you, Dr. Pelpo. So this is why some people are frustrated. The hope that was invested in this cause, look at where we are now. And that's why I'm putting it to you that politicians have not been fair to our country on both ends, and we simply need to do much, much better. It's easy to talk, but not so easy to walk the talk.
Thank you so much. I think when it comes to MPP and where we have gotten to now, and I don't think that it will be fair for anybody to be talking about NDC and say we didn't do well. Because the difference is just between, it's like night and day. And what they have achieved compared to what they have earned. Look at him complaining that we spent 37 billion and we did nothing. Somebody drew his attention and said, oh, there's infrastructure. He said, oh, infrastructure is mediocre. Can you imagine that? People were not listening to Baumia. They just got consumed by the rhetoric. Today, they have spent 600 billion. What have they done? People are asking the questions. What have you done with that money? And he's talking about the fact that they are going to create jobs. They are going to have a new economy. Now, this is the economy they have now. Industry has declined very miserably. Manufacturing has declined very majorly. Look at the budget. Construction is gone. Water supply, decline. Sewage and management system, decline. All the sectors are in decline. I mean, nobody can have confidence in the present regime. This is a man who said, we are going to have a new economy. What is that new economy about? Is it?
He said we'd move from taxation to production.
And where is the production? Manufacturing, industry, construction. Those are the areas you can see real progress going on. They are all in decline. You don't know what they're about. And the same person is still talking and still trying to convince Ghanaians. I want Ghanaians to see into this man that speaking English is not equal to doing the right thing. Knowing economic terms and utilizing them has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. People are suffering. They want to find food and eat. I sit here every single day, the number of people who call me to say, can I get something to feed today? You can't count them. Because is the situation compelling them to be who they are today? So it's a sad story of a people who have invested their resources into one person's hands, Nane's hands, supported by his vice president, only to get us where we are now. Even to go and take a loan, which we can pay back, they are now saying we are not qualified to take the loan without a huge interest being placed on us.
In there, Dr. Bawumia speaks about you can't just say stuff and say this is wrong, okay? And this is where I want us to veer into a bit of what the two different sides have been saying and then get into the budget as we conclude. What's your alternative? That's the question on the minds of Ghanaians. The MPP, I think no one can dispute at this point that the MPP has been woeful in many respects.
Yeah.
But you can give them their flowers in some respects. Education. We may have had a very turbulent cycle of 3 to 4 years, 4 to 3 years, and free SHS and its implementation. That is different. The buffer stock and feeding in these schools. I mean, back then in the day, long ago in Bishop Herman, it wasn't like this. And how can we be retrogressing instead of progressing as time goes by? We can give them their flowers for a number of things. One of the things I'll give this administration its flowers for, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Have you been there yet?
Yeah, I've not entered, but I've seen
it's fantastic. I know the cost of it and everything, but those are the things we should do. Recently, I saw, is it Sadiq Adam on Twitter, on X, post about, I've forgotten the country, whether it's Zimbabwe, Zambia, or some other country. They have a university named after Kwame Nkrumah. You get it? Yeah. I mean, there's so much more we can do to salute our heroes and heroines. So I think these are some of the things. They are fantastic, okay? But by and large, looking at the greater economy and everything in between, the Ghanaian has moved back many paces. And I don't shy away from saying that. I say that with every opportunity. Sometimes you have to castigate government before some basic things are done. Recently, on my blunt thoughts, I had to go hard on government about the roads leading to Kolebu. Somehow, a short while after that, it was done. Why does it have to take someone to make a lot of noise about something that we know? A referral center for the entire sub-region. People come from across the sub-region and go to Kolebu. So those are the things I'm asking. What then is the NDC's alternative? What differently are you going to do?
You know, when normally they ask, I listen to it when they ask him, Bawumia, so you are criticizing all this. What will you do? He didn't have anything to say. He only said, we won't do a friends and family and friends economy.
But he said that in 2015, and they have done that.
Yeah,
they have had a family and friends government.
Yes,
it is clear.
So he even failed to tell the public of Ghana what he wanted to do. I just want to draw this attention that they had nothing to show. Getting close to the elections, they went and brought these fake promises about one village, one dam. One village, one dam. Can you imagine it? One district, one factory. Those kind of funny things that they brought into play. But in our particular situation, you heard John Mahama talking about what we want to do. We haven't come out with our comprehensive manifesto yet. But there are some basic things we can't keep quiet about. We can't keep quiet about the children's education. We want to improve our education sector. And we have said that we will review the whole system and provide adequate response to the challenges we have in education. we also said that we are going to bring an economy, revamp the economy, because we have been drawn back more than 30 years behind us. We have lost the confidence of the public, the economic community, and our friends around us. We've lost confidence in them. We need to show that we can catch up.
Can the NDC do that? And mind you, yes. We're in an IMF program.
Yes.
Like it or not, whichever president takes over from here, whether it's Alan Chamanting, John Dramani Mahama, Dr. Bawumia, or whichever other independent candidate, is going to have a really tough time. It's going to be worse before it even shows any sentiment, any least sliver of getting better. It's going to take quite a while. So I suggest to anyone intending to take office to tread cautiously, because with the promises and everything, it's not going to be easy.
Yes, I'm happy you've gotten to this point where you now recognize that where we've gotten up to, we need to raise the foundation before we can build up. Look, the key thing is about revamping this economy. So that's the key idea about the 24-hour economy, where we get people working. I mean, we don't have to think that to keep an economy functioning, you need to go somewhere and get money for that. Production has to be from Ghana itself as a core principle, so that if you are getting anything from elsewhere, it will be an added up to exactly what you have already. So we will keep the economy up and running. We will make sure we strengthen the security system to make sure we don't have this situation where you have security people go kill a Ghanaian and it's nothing. It has to be something. We will make sure every other issue about our economy, our agriculture, especially in the production of cocoa, the key things that make Ghana what it is, cocoa, our newfound oil, every single aspect of it is properly organized in manners that can help develop this nation and relieve the people of this tension we are going through.
Let me just look at some of the messages. Isdor Mwinterebo says, we need GM back to make the country better. Johnny Jones says, Bawumia is a disaster for the country, but there are other sides to the conversation, so let me get there. Nathan Odame Abosi, and I don't recall this, so I'm going to put it to you. He says, this very man in your studio, that is Dr. Rashid Pelpo, told Ghanaian youth that they should go and crack stones when they were complaining about unemployment. Would he tell his son to go and crack stones? And he says, if the MPP is not performing, is the NDC the option? Can Donald Trump go back and tell Americans to vote for him? Interestingly, I think there was a poll recently where Donald Trump, interestingly, was actually more popular than Joe Biden. But I don't know about the Americans going back for Donald Trump. That is their problem, though. We're dealing with our own problems. There's also this one, Nathan Odame. We made noise before about common chalk, which was provided for schools some years ago. I remember that. I'll wrap with this. Godwin Ajetinya, who says, you see how relevant his comments are only when he is in charge. The same narrative today with the NDC. As for this MPP administration, Charlie, the worst of all, you have, and you describe the president, the vice, and the finance minister in certain circles that, or in certain ways that I cannot read. But you see, that is the problem.
Yeah,
people are losing faith, and young people are on the cusp of despondency because they feel whichever way you go, it's like being caught between the devil and the deep blue sea.
No. You see, those who are losing faith, they are losing faith in their own government. And rather than saying we are losing faith in Netam has lost faith in his own government. He has lost faith in what Dr. Bawumia is doing. He can't go along with them. Rather than saying we have failed, he will now say, what else can you also do? No, he knew what we did. He knew that we constructed roads, we built streets, we built hospitals. We did all that to make Ghanaians happy. And we kept the economy live and going. Netam made a reference to a situation, something I said on this, in this studio. I was making an analysis when I was a minister responsible for the private sector, Minister of State. And I said, even if you are not educated, you don't have any skill, and you are a Ghanaian, you can still work. Why did I say that? I said you can still work because where you are, I could use, for example, if you are in a place where there are computers and then you know how to repair a computer, just say, okay, set up a computer center and repair the computers. I could say, if you have a confidence in the bank and there are no cars in a place, you could go and get cars and sell to people, get credit, import cars and sell to people. But they hate it when you go down and use the grassroots of somebody who has no money, but who you want to encourage to work. They hate it. Once you said that, they say, hey, he's referring to graduates to go and... No, it was an example I was showing, that if you are not working and you can do A, B, C, D at places where you have the advantage. If you have an advantage in a place where you can crack stones, crack it. Don't sit and say, I don't have work to do. If you have an advantage in a place where you can sell anything at all, do that. There are some of the things you don't need to buy.
And so that was the analogy you were
That
drawing.
was the analogy I was
Because I actually recall hosting this event at the Kempinski Hotel, and someone I met, he's Ghanaian, his wife is Ghanaian, prominent,
Yes.
and he told me that many years ago in the UK, he was actually in a bank, working in a prominent bank, and all of a sudden they had to, let go of a number of them. The British gentleman there, who had always had life a certain way, had never came to him and asked, so what are we going to do now? What happens next? And next day, and he said to him, look, I have a family to feed. I'm going to get a ride-hailing service, Uber, Bolt, or something of the sort, and I'm going to ride. I'm going to do anything possible to feed my family. And that was what he did at the time, within that window. Unfortunately, the British guy committed suicide because, well, I guess he had never come to terms with such situations in his life or whatever. I'm not trying to, explain away. But I guess whatever the situation may be, sometimes as politicians, we should always watch how we, communicate certain things, because you never know how someone may take it. You see this, I don't remember, but he remembers and he put it up, and I was going to put it to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, to conclude the conversation though, the promises are being made. Now Ghanaians don't know who is telling the truth and who is just fibbing to try and get his way to power. The vice president wants to become president. The former president wants to become president. How do we read between the lines? And then, to cap off, Parliament is debating the 2024 budget.
Yeah.
You are in there. The debating has started. You have threatened that if some of the things, like the cocoa bit in there, the 40 million or so for torches, which I find pretty interesting, among others. But there are serious concerns about the budget. The business community has been up in arms about some aspects of it. Taxation is one of them. What can we expect from the NDC moving forward on the budget?
Well, we would examine it. If we listen to the debate we started yesterday, we came out with very strong observations about the budget, and we thought that some of the mistakes are so basic that they shouldn't make them. We drew the attention to the Ghanaian public that the budget is not good for them, and that a good budget should be making the people have confidence in this last regime of the administration. But it didn't. It's not giving that confidence. So we are definitely going to work with them, point out the areas that they can make better if they will listen to us. We want to work for Ghana. We don't want to work necessarily for NDC. And that's why some of the time you see us working along with them. In the last borrowing they did, they needed $750 million. That was last year, in order not to create a chaos in this economy. Because our reserves had come down, they needed money. Export became a problem because we didn't have money to even change and give to our people to go. So they needed that money. We knew that we could oppose it. We looked at the numbers, we were more than them. But we said, look, for the sake of Ghana, let's approve it. So we work for Ghana most of the time. So we have gotten to the point where we realize that they have nowhere else to go. But at this time, we can't help them. We can only advise them. And so the NDC is going to take lessons from whatever is happening. We are going to make sure we do constructive criticisms of the budget, and eventually we will produce maybe an alternative situation for them to see if they want it.
An alternative budget?
Alternative situation in aspects of
an alternative budget, because when you heard Dr. Bawumia speak in 2015 for the 2016 budget, that was exactly what he said, an alternative budget. Maybe, I mean, in the past, we've contemplated the main opposition as the government in waiting. We've even had shadow ministers and all of that. So I don't know why, don't shy away from, if it's an alternative in that regard, call it an alternative.
Yeah, we want to make sure we point, that's why I call it constructive criticisms. The areas we think need to be modified to improve the lives of people, we bring it all out. But you see, the pain about it is that the people themselves you want to help do not think that they are wrong. Insistently, they keep saying they are not wrong. It is Ukraine. It is not us. It is COVID. It is not us. It's the Boko conflict. And now they are talking about the war in Gaza. It's creating problems for them. So you don't know what the problem is. They have to admit to their failures, and then we can help them to get onto the road. We know that they have failed, but it shouldn't be a pain, consistent pain,
right?
All of us.
All right.
But let me also say that the NPP people, Netam and co, who are disgruntled about their party, should show disgruntled about it. Don't say, oh, John Mahama didn't also do well. No, we did well, and you know it. They themselves know it. Everything they criticize us about, they have apologized. Obosoka people apologize, the nurses have apologized. Everybody who thought that we were not doing well. And I told you about the businessman who saluted me and said they were wrong for criticizing us. We can improve and do better.
All right.
Don't have a feeling that, oh, NPP hasn't done it. No, that's wrong. They have not done well. They thought about themselves. They have invested in themselves. They have stolen to the point that they don't have confidence in the bank. They can't keep money in the bank anymore. It's in their houses. Can you imagine somebody $1 million being stolen from the house? Can you imagine that? I'm not saying she has stolen, but if you don't have confidence in the bank to go and put money there, there's something wrong with the system.
This message comes through. It says, please tell Rashid that we are tired of our educational system being toyed with by both parties. They should desist from coming and changing things all the time. What prevents them from setting up a committee from both parties to set the educational standards once and for all so that they don't keep tossing and changing? The licential or the licensure exams are like the engineers and architects and quantity surveyors exams undertaken for their professional certification. So that's the bit in there. Of course, some concerns have been raised about the pass mark of 70 and whether it should be reversed to 50. There's also this one, Adam Abdul Hanan says, Bawumia has nothing to tell Ghanaians anymore. We have all felt the hardship and no one needs a campaign again. It will be an easy task for John Mahama to floor him. I don't think it's going to be that easy. And if anyone in the election lets his or her guard down, I think that person would be disappointed. We need to, whoever is going to lead this country, take Ghanaians seriously. This one, Fizi says, the NPP disappointed Ghanaians and their followers. Instead of people to call them out for their incompetence and mismanagement, they are rather being sycophants. Okay, that reiterates what you were saying.
Yeah.
We have to sew up the conversation here, and we'll have ample opportunity going forward, especially as the budget is debated, to get into the meat of some of these matters that we've discussed. But Dr. Pelpo, we are grateful you joined us this morning.
Thank you
for this discussion.
Thank you.
Dr. Rashid Pelpo is Member of Parliament for Wa Central. He joined us right here for our first major issue. Now, coming up next after the break, employment prospects are key to development and stability across, especially Africa. Many entrepreneurs in Africa have the potential to create new jobs. According to estimates by the World Bank, the African diaspora in Germany transfers almost 1.5 billion euros to their home country each year. That's why there's We Do Africa, and we'll be having a conversation with them right after the break. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show on Joy News. So like I mentioned, we're now going to be talking about the We Do project. And of course, it's all about development and stability across different regions in Africa. Joining us for a conversation, we have Anthea Ohene Main, Greater Accra Regional Manager, GEA Projects Coordinator, and she is with the We Do project. We also have Till Schming, GIZ Advisor, Employment Promotion with the Diaspora We Do platform. We have a conversation with them right now on the AM show. Gentlemen, lady, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
They always say ladies first. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about We Do and this latest project. What's it all about?
Okay, so We Do is basically a German government-sponsored program, and it's being implemented by GIZ.
Okay.
So what it is about is that a research was done, and we realized that most remittances coming from Germany to Africa are just gifts or just for upkeep. But the amount is so huge, and so it is something that was thought about by the German government, that we can quickly use the remittances into investments, so that these investments can be turned into businesses and become profitable for people down here in Africa, so that we don't always have to depend on the Africans in diaspora for support. Okay. And so the whole idea is to make sure that remittances are turned into investments in Africa. So that is just a gist about We Do.
Okay, so if I went on then to ask you, because you've spoken about remittances,
exactly.
If I went on then to ask you about what the criteria are, what the registration process is, who can send money, what would you say in that regard?
Okay, so We Do started in some selected European countries. So it is Germany, France, Switzerland, Sweden, Netherlands, and some few more. So the African countries too that were selected were Ghana, Togo, Cameroon, and Ethiopia, Tunisia, and I think 2 others. So what the criteria is that you have to have a business idea. You should have a business idea, and if you also have an existing business, fine. And those out there in Germany and the European countries I mentioned are called the donors. And those in Africa are called the entrepreneurs, because we are talking about business. And so it doesn't really matter whether you have a business or not. Once you have an idea, and you can have a business, and you want to grow the business with some funding. So We Do is a grant that the German government gives to support people who want to start a business or who have businesses that want to grow the business. So the criteria is that you should be, okay, let's take the Ghanaian scenario. In Ghana, if you want to apply on We Do, you should have a business idea. And you should also have a donor in any of the countries that we have mentioned. That is the partner countries that are under We Do.
Right.
So if it is outside the countries I've mentioned, then you cannot go on the portal. And you have to talk about it to the donor, for the donor to agree. And then the donor will go on the We Do platform to initiate the process.
Okay.
And then invite you, the entrepreneur, to also come on the We Do platform.
Okay. Till, what else can you add as far as the We Do platform is concerned? Orchestrated by the German government, but reiterate the countries from which these donations can be made. Is it free, though?
Yes, absolutely. So the whole process is free. What we do is once an entrepreneur gets invited by a member of the diaspora in one of the European countries, we will have a look at the business idea that they have. We're going to check it online. And once we see that it's eligible, we are paying for a business coach to visit the entrepreneur site, the business side of the entrepreneur, and provide a business coaching to set the entrepreneur up for success. And this business coaching is paid for us. Also, the operation of the website is paid for us. So there's no cost involved for an entrepreneur. The whole process is for free. And there's also no middleman or percentages or anything else. So after this coaching visit has happened and an entrepreneur invests the money that they receive from their diaspora friend or relative, plus their own funds into the business and documents it on the platform, they become eligible for our We Do grant, which is between 250 euros to 2,500 euros. And there's only one obligation with this grant that is sent to their bank account, which is that they have to invest it into their business and upload receipts on the platform afterwards. So that's the only condition tied to this grant. There's no repayment. We don't take a stock in their business or something like that. It's really just this one obligation, which is to use the grant in the business and tell us what they have done with it.
Is this a one-time commitment? Is it a one-time payment?
Yes, so the We Do grant is a one-time payment in this process, but you can go through this process up to 3 times. So after you have gone through the We Do process and you have mobilized funding, maybe you have a second step in mind to bring your business to the next stage. So you can ask your diaspora friend or relative in one of the European countries to invite you for a second round, and then afterwards also for a third round. So in total, you can go through 3 rounds of funding with We Do.
Okay, so I'm using myself merely as an example.
Sure.
Let's say I don't know anybody abroad. Can I still participate in the program? And the other question is, how about, okay, so I don't know anyone from some of these countries, but I have a donor from the UK, the US, or Canada. What then happens? Can you share with us before I come back to you?
Yeah. So maybe coming to your first question, what happens, or let me actually go to your second question first, about which countries we are in. So Antea mentioned the countries already. We are currently operating in Germany, in France, in Switzerland, Austria, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden.
These are all countries with pretty extensive, linkages to Germany. A lot of them actually speak German. What's going on? Is it all in that enclave?
So actually, we started in Germany because we are receiving our funding, from the German government in the end, and then we added more and more countries to it. And the reason is that if we open up the whole world immediately, there will be a lot of traffic on the platform, and it's better to start small and then extend more and more countries to it. So at the moment, we are not in the UK and the US, but we are, of course, very, very open to do it. And as I mentioned, we have been extending from 2019, where we're only in one country, to now multiple countries, where also a lot of diaspora members live. Now, I realized that some entrepreneurs, they may not have this connection to the diaspora in one of those countries. So they said, I still have a good business idea. How can you help us? So we've also introduced a second instrument. So the one that we talked about is our grant program that is available all year long for the next years. But we also have a second grant program, which is called thematic calls. And that one is available only at certain times. So for example, we opened up a digitalization call that helps small businesses to digitalize their operations.
Right.
And that was opened up in Ghana in July last year. So if people follow us on our Facebook page, We Do Ghana, then they will be informed once we reopen one of those thematic calls. And then people can also participate if they don't have the diaspora connection.
Okay, that's interesting. Anthea, he made mention of a figure. I believe, did you say the cap was 250 euros?
That's the minimum.
Correct. The minimum. So
Yes,
what's the highest?
The highest is 2,500.
2,500
euros, yeah.
Okay, so that's the highest one can apply for.
Exactly.
What's the application process like? How does one get on board?
So that is what I was saying initially. The donor will have to go onto the WeDo.Africa platform, apply, and then invite the entrepreneur in the African country, which is Ghana. We are using Ghana.
What does that mean? Would that mean the entrepreneur would have had to initiate contact with the donor? How does it work?
Exactly. So you have to discuss with your friend or relative out there in the diaspora. And then you discuss whether you want to invest in what type of business, because we do support any type of business. They don't restrict the sectors. So if you discuss and you decide on the business that you want to go into, then the donor can go onto the platform and then initiate the process and invite the entrepreneur on board.
So in other words, WeDo is acting like some sort of intermediary between the donor and the person in need, the entrepreneur.
The entrepreneur.
How simple is the application process? How long does it take?
So you just have to have a digital skill because you have to go online and apply. It's very simple, but that is why Ghana Enterprises Agency, we also have people on board who can assist you with application. Because if you don't understand the application process, we can be there to support you to apply online.
I see. And then in terms of if anyone has further questions, needs clarity, what do they do? Where do they go? What do you have a website they can access?
Yes, we have the website. We have contact numbers, so they can contact the following numbers: 0244 835 702.
They often tell us we go too quickly, so you have to slow down. You'd have to slow down with the number.
So 0244 835 702 or 0244 994570. We actually have...
So that's 994570 for the second number. 0244
994570.
Okay, all right.
And then we can even add a third number, 0244 964567.
Okay.
So all these numbers, when you reach out to any of them, even if you are in the northern region, we can link you up to somebody who can support you.
How about a website? Do you have any?
We have the website.
Shall I come in?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's also other ways. If, for example, you didn't get the number, then you can also visit widu.africa.
And WeDo, it, by the way, is WIDU, right?
Yes, correct. So let me quickly also hold our flyer up. I don't know if people can see it in the screen, but it's widu.africa.
Okay, so, yeah, we just zoomed in.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And there you can contact us. We are also on Facebook. So if you type in We Do Ghana, then you can find us on Facebook and you can just message us there and we will get back to you. And the other way is to write an email to us, which is at ghana@wedo.africa. And
so Ghana@wedo, that is WIDU.Africa.
That is correct. Okay. Thank you. And once somebody writes the email to us, we can support via email or messenger, or also connect you to somebody from GA with a business advisory center, where people can walk in and get the support.
Okay. Anthea, Till, any final words? I'll start with you this time. Final words? I was curious though.
Yes, please.
How many people have you reached in Ghana, for example, or Africa so far? I nearly forgot that. I meant to ask.
Yeah. So in Ghana, we have supported 1,000 businesses with coaching or with the We Do grant. And they are in all regions of Ghana. And by that, we have mobilized 1.4 million euros. That is the money from the diaspora and the money from the entrepreneur. And we have matched that with a grant of 1.4 million euros. So we have mobilized quite a lot of money into really small-scale businesses.
I see. For you, Anthea, final words.
So this is a very good opportunity for the youth. We've always been asking for capital for startup, and the financial institutions are not supporting. So this is a grant. Once you have somebody out there in the countries we have mentioned, take advantage of it. Sell a business idea out there. If you also need funds to expand your business, this is the right time. Take advantage of the Ghanaians out there and then use the remittances for business to grow our economy in Ghana.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation. I'm just doing a quick bit of mathematics here. What's the exchange rate for the euro? Now, I think it's slightly above the dollar, slightly above the 12 CD mark. But if it's $250 or euros, whichever way, that's something close to 3,000 CDs. If you're looking at the 2,500, so
32,000 Ghana CDs.
So let's even use 13. That will be about 32,500. So not bad money in terms of startups, something you could actually go down the road of. And if you want something in there, you could use it to start up and dream as big as you want to. But thank you very much, Anthea. Thank you very much, Till, for joining the conversation. Anthea Ohene Main is Greater Accra Regional Manager, GA Project Coordinator with the We Do project. There's also Till Schming, GIZ Advisor, Employment Promotion with the Diaspora on the We Do platform. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. Some interesting perspectives we've shared with you this morning on the show. But now we talk about that common manifesto. We've spoken to you about it. We're going to reiterate today. Now, Joy News is collaborating with an amalgam of professional bodies to present a public speaking event on the topic, A Common Manifesto for Our Common Future. Now, joining the discussion, of course, today, later in the evening at the British Council, we're going to have panelists including Michael Koto and Akosua Bame, and the main speaker, David Ofosu-Dorte. He is going to actually be there for this event, and that is on the 28th, actually. That is next week. We'll be hearing from Dr. Kwame Sapong-Asiedu on that discussion slated for sometime next week. Doc, it's been a while. Good to have you join the conversation this morning.
Yes, it has, and good morning, and thanks for having me.
Now, I know that you're one of those outspoken members of the public. I follow your Facebook feed and all that. You are very passionate about Ghana. How did you feel putting this together? Joy News collaborating with this conglomerate, if you like, or amalgam of private entities to come through with this public lecture. What are your immediate sentiments that you'd like to share with us?
Okay, thanks. My immediate sentiment is that we've been running this democracy for over 3 decades. The verdict is out there if the democracy is yielding a dividend for Ghanaians. And in recent times, people have been asking the question, why are the middle classes not speaking up based on the dividends that we are seeing in our democracy? So for me, coming together with people who are also passionate about Ghana, but independent thinkers, not people who groupthink, have their own views, disagree, but with the intention that ultimately there should be one agenda that is charted by Ghana in order to achieve transformational development is something I can closely associate to. And that is why I'm passionate.
Now, what went into selecting the likes of David Ofosu-Dorte, of course, Michael Koto, someone I'm familiar with, Akosua Bame as well as panelists, and then the main speaker. What went into that, and what can we expect as they talk about that common manifesto for our common future?
Well, to say what went into that, I would say if you look at all 4 individuals, they are distinguished in their chosen professions. I mean, there are some that no one can lift a candle to. And then when you look at their social interactions, there are people who also believe that we cannot continue down this line of NDC, NPP, our politics, and every single thing changing with our electoral cycle. They also have very strong views. And so if you look at someone, you said you follow my feed, if you follow someone like David's feed, you also see that he has very, very strong and passionate views. He's well-traveled. He is a thought leader per excellence. You can say the same thing about the other two, Akosua and Michael. They are people of substance. And for me, that is what matters, that you have people who are independent-minded and are willing to get into the arena and have conversations around what we should have as a commonality when it comes to Ghana.
As a country, we are at a crossroads when it comes to not just the economic life, education, everything in between. This is not going to be the first and the last. It's going to be a series of lectures. We've already heard from the likes of Mr. Nsako, Yaw Nsako, in the past. But what then does this mean for shaping our governance and other structures in Ghana? Because there's also, the reason I ask this question, there's also that sentiment out there that you can say what you will, but often those who are in charge of governance will not necessarily go by anything you say. How are we hoping this will actually shape our country for the better?
Thanks. You see, these conversations are supposed to put spotlight on specific sectors of our society. So when Yao spoke, he spoke about a specific sector. When I spoke about health. And so in answering your question, I will try to put a health spin on it and say, is it actually right that every 4 to 8 years, the leadership of all our health systems change from the Ghana Health Service, from Kolebu, from Temple Teaching Hospital, Konfanochi, it changes. And in changing these health leaders, we always change them looking inward to one political party, i.e. the political party in power. So we are not using meritocracy, but are using political loyalty to identify who our health leaders are. Is it right that when we've identified these health leaders, all these coming from a minority of our intellectual population, less than 35%, because the two political parties have 40 to 44% each in their camp. When we go to identify these people, we are looking inward into those who are loyal to the person who's won executive power. Is that right? Is it right that these people are then not given a tenure such that the president can wake up one morning and say, I fired the chief executive of Kolebu or Konfanochi or the Ghana Health Service, and nobody can do anything about it? What does it augur for planning for our health system? Is it right, therefore, that you go into a hospital and you cannot use your national health insurance card to get all the benefits that a card gives you, and the chief executive of the national health insurance scheme is appointed by the executive with no tenure? When you go in there, the question you ask yourself is, are you identified as an MPP or NDC when you need the health system most? These are the things we want to bring into the public domain for us to have a conversation. Is it healthy? Is it giving us the outcomes we require? And yes, other people would come in and speak about the educational sector, other people would speak about the legal sector. So we want to put a spotlight on what we are doing and how we are practicing our democracy from different perspectives and see what model would best fit us. So if you look at David's conversations going to have, he's talking about a common manifesto that irrespective of being apolitical, irrespective of being MPP, NDC, EPP, PPP, we need to have a national agenda. We need to have something that we all aspire for as Ghanaians. We need to be Ghanaian first and political party second. If you look at even the framers of our constitution, they had that in the National Development Planning Commission. But our political party players have managed to jettison anything that the NDPC does. And every time they are coming with their own manifesto. So if you come back to health, is it correct that now we are running a health system based on the NPP manifesto? We see hospitals that were started by the NDC under John Mahama that are not completed. And suddenly we are starting Agenda 111. And then should governments change, are they going to go back to complete the projects they came? What does that mean for us? What does that even mean for our economy? What does that mean for our debt to GDP ratio? Because we do not have the money. We borrow to fund these things. And that is the sort of conversation we want to drive.
And it's pretty interesting. Just this morning, I was going to indicate that even before he came through with free SHS and the rest, I've heard the former president, though, reiterate, I'm talking about John Dramani Mahama, interestingly, that, listen, free SHS has come to stay in one of his most recent speeches, but that is how it's being executed. That will be tweaked. But today, I got a message from someone on the back of his talk about the licensure exams and scrapping them and changing the modalities, so to speak. Someone sent in a message and said, enough of you, the MPP and NDC, tweaking, twisting, tossing about, turning our educational system. Both of you come together, form some sort of committee and ensure that we can have a common agenda when it comes to education, rather than you come it's 4 years, you come it's 3 years, you come and do this gold track, green track, and all of that is not stabilizing our educational system. But I guess those are some of the very things we're looking at. So, a common manifesto for our common future on the 28th day of November. That's Tuesday next week, 2023. The time is 6:30 p.m. at the British Council. Admission is free. It's a hybrid event. You can also join virtually. In fact, some of those who are going to, the prominent members are going to be joining virtually as well. Any final words, Dr. Sapon Asiedu, on what we can expect and what you yourself would be expecting come D-Day?
Well, I'm expecting people with very divergent views, very strong views as well, but a stimulating conversation that would ensure that we identify the pain points in this 8-year cycle of a journey to nowhere. I mean, it is not delivering. I don't want to put words into the mouth of David, but we all know it's not delivering. We all know that it's not working for us. And we want a lot more people to join the conversation. The aim is to get a lot more people to speak out. We might not have all the answers. Yes, and no one has all the answers. But in the end, the more we speak, the more we discuss, the better the ideas. And we should move into the sector where we are prepared to have these conversations without fear or favor, irrespective of our political leader. And that is what I'm expecting from today.
Doc, we're also expectant. We're waiting with bated breath, and we hope that all of this will help shape the course of our country and its fortunes moving forward. Dr. Kwame Sapong-Asiedu joining the conversation this morning. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And of course, it's all about that public lecture. Don't you forget, make a log on your calendar. Joy News, together with an amalgam of professional bodies, organizing this public speaking event on the 28th day of November. It's at the British Council, time 6:30 p.m. The main speaker is David Ofosu Dorte, and there's also Akosua Bame and Michael Koto joining the conversation. Now, where are you thinking about going? Have you thought about just relaxing this Christmas season? Well, I'll tell you what, you can escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel this Christmas. You've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. Take a break from work this Christmas and take a break from the South. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is Japa, Dubai, is a place to relax, rewind, and re-energize this Christmas. It's away from the stress of the South, and here's what awaits you. An unforgettable safari experience. They have an amazing array of wildlife, including lions. There's the hippopotamus, zebra, ostrich, all of these on display for you to enjoy the beauty of nature. They have water sports such as jet skiing, boat or canoe rides, among others. And there are games for the entire family to keep you and your family excited all through the day. And oh, if you're looking for those touristic attractions as well in the Upper West region, talking about the Mushroom Rock, the Slave Caves, etc., they have those as well. So escape from the South, escape to the North, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is Japa, Dubai, for an unforgettable safari experience this Christmas and beyond. The numbers to call 0501 694 280 or 0248 844 463 for reservations or further inquiries. Do stay with us. Our next conversation is up next on the AM Show.
Are you looking for a safe, luxurious, yet affordable home? Special Gardens has just the right house for you at affordable prices. Ahead of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, we caught up with the Assistant Sales Manager at Special Gardens, Ruth Amwa, to find out what unique offers they have available for potential customers.
So Special Gardens is a mid-level real estate development located at Oyarefa on the N4 highway, on the Adenta Ibri Highway. So it's a gated community that we are putting up here. We are building townhomes and apartments. So we have about 217 townhomes and we have about 25 apartments or condos. So for the townhomes, we have 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms. And then for the apartments or condos, we have just 1 bed and 2 bedroom condos. So the townhomes, we have the terrace townhomes, that's the 2 bedrooms, and the 3 bedrooms we have the semi-detached and the end units, and the 4 bedrooms we have the semi-detached and the detached. So all have their own prices. And the good thing is all our units are en suites. So all of them have toilet and bath inside. You don't need to share a toilet and bath with each. Yes, and then we also have amenities in the community. We have a garden area. Once you enter the community, that's the first thing you see. So you have a garden area, we have a multi-purpose sports courts, or let's say an astroturf. Yes, so where like the sports area in the community. And then where the condos are located, we have a retail space on the ground floor. So the retail space, we have the grocery, the pharmacy, salon, barbering, and then I think we'll have some ATMs over there. So I mean, there's basically everything in the community. You don't need to go out there to do anything.
So this happens to be more of a small city within a city. What is the land size?
So it's 17 acres. It sits on a 17-acre of land, and the homes are about 240 in total. The condos and the townhomes together, yes.
Talking about condos and towns, probably I have the idea, but to a layman out there who doesn't really understand what the condo homes is or a townhomes is, just run me through what is that basically?
So, condo, so it's a short form of condominium. That's like apartments or flats. So let me say apartments. Yes, so those are 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments. So the 1-bedroom apartment is going for $99,000, and the 2-bedroom apartment is going for $129,000. We started selling off plan from 2021, and we have less than 10 units of the apartments left. And with the townhomes, phase 1 is sold out, and phase 2 is almost sold out. So we'll have our first people moving early next year, let's say by February 2024. Our first people will move in. That will be about 25 to 30 homes will be handed over to them.
Are these rooms fitted, furnished? Run me through.
Okay, so the rooms are fitted, yes. So we have ACs fitted in all rooms, wardrobes, and also the kitchen is fitted. We have, we also have an extractor, stove, microwave, and fridge in the kitchen, and it's fitted, all cabinets and everything fitted. But it's not furnished, so we don't give you furniture. Yes, but it's fitted. And then all rooms are en suites. Yes, so there's everything here. So you only need to bring your furniture, your bed, and that's all.
No. The company, being privately owned, seeks to provide housing solutions to clients looking to invest in quality properties in Ghana. Coupled with a flexible payment plan, buyers stand to enjoy discounts on all purchases made from Special Gardens.
Okay, so the first one we had in 2021, I think that was when we started Special Gardens. So we're just kind of creating awareness for people to know what we are doing here in Oyarefa. So basically just trying to get small clients. And then at that time, we still started selling at that time, even though it was off plan and there was nothing here. We were able to get few people, but not as much as the second one. The second one, we had people come to our stand to see what we had, even though our model home wasn't really ready. After the fair, we were able to invite people who came to the Habitat Fair to come and see the site. And some people were able to buy. Some people also referred us to family or friends who also ended up buying. So right now that we have a sample home and we have few things ready, I think we are coming with full vim. And I think this time around, we'll get more sales from Habitat Fair.
Talking about coming with full vim this time, what should you expect from your side? What are you telling the potential homeowners out there?
Okay, so I'm letting them know that we have something good in here in Special Gardens, and you are going to get value for your money. As for that one, I assure you, because our homes are really beautiful, and where it's located in Oyarefa, it's a really good location. It's just by the roadside. It's not so far from Adenta barrier. Like, it's really, really close to town. So when they come here, they will see that Special Gardens is a community on its own, and there's everything in here. Like, I mean, you'll be comfortable here. And I also want to tell them that if they are purchasing the property in Special Gardens, they are actually not throwing away their money. They're actually buying something good, and it's actually a good investment. So for those of you who want to buy Special Gardens or who want to buy a home to live in, it's also a good place to live in. And those of you who want to also buy for investment, it's really good because the return on investment is about 7 to 9%. If you are buying it to invest, it's about 7 to 9%. And for those of you who want to just buy and have your family here, it's also good for raising your kids here because the community is beautiful. I mean, you get a lot of connections.
Built by a driven team of experienced developers, the houses have many unique features ranging from state-of-the-art washrooms to in-house speakers in all rooms in the house.
We are heading to the bedrooms. All bedrooms are upstairs, so you have the master bedroom and the other bedroom to upstairs. Yes, so I'll take you to the master bedroom first to show you, and then I take you to the other room. Okay. Yes, so.
And I could see some interesting things here.
Yeah, so actually this is a sample home and we finished it. So we actually finished all these things. But your house doesn't come with all these things when you buy it. We actually finished them.
Right, so I'm seeing 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. Just take me through what.
Okay, so this is the master bedroom and this is the other bedroom. So let's go to the master bedroom. This is the room and then we have the walk-in closets. Yes, so this is the walk-in closets. So this fitted for you. When you buy your home, all the rooms have walk-in closets in their master bedroom, but the other bedroom has like just a standard closet or wardrobe. So this is the walk-in closets. Yes, as you can see. I mean, it's actually spacious. You can put a lot of things inside and you'll be fine. So this is the walk-in closet, and then we have the bedroom, and then we have the master bath. So let me take you there. Yes, the master bathroom.
Now, before we even go to the bathroom, I'm so interested in the discount bit. You made mention of it. Once again, talk to me. What should they expect, percentage-wise?
I'm going to give $5,000 to $10,000 off to those who visit our stand. And that one also depends on how much you are locking in with. So once we have the list of people who came in, we know that, oh, this so-and-so came to Habitat Fair, so all these people are going to get discounts. So depending on how much you are looking in with, so for 50% and above, you are going to get $10,000 off. And between 20 to 49%, you are going to get $5,000 off. Since it's between 5 to 10, I mean, some may get 7,000, some may get 6,000, some may get 8,000. Yes. So between $5,000 to $10,000 off.
Definitely, I would want to try this. I hope I can sit in this. Okay, yeah. It comes with, oh, interesting. So when I have this apartment, it means definitely I'm getting all this. Is that the case?
No, you're not getting all this. This is our sample home, as I explained earlier. Okay. So we finished what you see here. So it's just the room, the AC, the walk-in closet, and the master bathroom. Yes, you don't get the bed and all these things.
Let's do a quick look at the master bathroom. It's also quite interesting here. So what do we have here?
So this is the master bathroom. So we have the double or dual vanity here. And then we have a sensor here. This is the mirror. Okay. And we have a small wardrobe here where you can put your towels and other things inside. So the central water heater will also be fixed there, as you can see. This side. Yes. And then you can put other stuff here. So more space. And this is the bathroom. It's so spacious. I mean, it can take 2 people. 2 people can shower here.
According to Assistant Sales Manager at Special Gardens, the company is committed to ensuring the safety of customers.
With our payment plan, it's very flexible. So if you are living in Ghana and you are working and you have an okay salary, maybe we can give you up to 30-month payment plan. If you think the 30-month payment plan is not enough, you can actually take mortgage from the bank. And we are using FNB, Stanchart, Stanbic, and Republic Bank. Those are the main banks we are banking with. So once, I mean, you can't pay everything and you can put down initial deposits, the bank can support you. So, of course, you'll be able to live here. I mean,
these are some of the offers you guys have for these potential homeowners.
The offers we have for the potential. So, okay, so we are letting them know that if they want an early move-in, phase 2 is almost sold out. So they should try and, I mean, rush and come and buy, because we are giving them $5,000 to $10,000 off for those of them that want to buy it from us. I mean, when we come to Habitat Fair and then they are able to come to our stand, we are going to give all those people $5,000 to $10,000 off, depending on how much you are putting down. So for the $10,000, let's say if you are paying 50% and above, you are going to get $10,000 off. And for the $5,000, let's say for between 20 to 40%, we can give you about $5,000 off. And also, for phase 4, we are offering 30-month payment plan. If you want to go for phase 4, we are giving you a 30-month payment plan. But the standard payment plan is actually 24 months. So if you want phase 4, we'll give you 30 months. That's like almost 3 years. So we give you more time to finish paying. And also, as I mentioned earlier, that the first people will be moving in next year. Yeah. So if you want an early move-in in phase 2, you need to lock in now. And we are going to give you a whopping $5,000 to $10,000 off. Yeah. And also, there are other things we may offer to new homeowners. Yes, there are other things. So, I mean, depending on the deal we have with you. So, we want to have a welcome gift for all those like who purchase our properties.
So, basically, we are currently on phase 1 of the project. They are basically the same buildings, but you know, this is a 4-unit apartment, and this is a 6-unit. When you look down there, you see that we have an 8-unit apartment, and we have some detached buildings. So they are basically the same thing, but just that every block has the number of units in them. So that's what we have at the moment.
Customers also have the opportunity to have houses constructed in models of their choices.
Welcome back on the AM show. How about we cap off the show talking about the spelling bee? How good are you at spelling? I could actually test you, but we'll do that some other day. Junior Speller is a nationwide spelling bee competition organized by the Born Heroes Foundation. Now in its 5th edition, and due to the positive impact the program continues to have on the lives of participants, we now have over 3,000 spellers on board. Now, thanks to the partnership we have with Joy Prime, the program now reaches every part of Ghana and even beyond. And that is why today we have a conversation with our guests joining us today. Victor Osei Nkansa is here with us. He joins the conversation. We also have Wilson Agbeko. I believe Wilson is not here today, so we'll skip that. But Victor, thank you very much. You are Victor, right? Yes, please. Thank you for joining the conversation this morning. And you were?
I'm Pierre.
Dorothy.
Ruth.
Ruth. Okay. Ruth, thank you very much for joining the conversation. I'll just want both of you to tell us what exactly you do clearly with the organization, so I'll know moving forward. Victor, what's your role? What's your portfolio?
So I am the founder of Born Heroes Foundation.
Okay.
Yes.
So Victor is the founder, and for you, Ruth?
Secretary.
All right. Thank you very much for joining. Now, I'd like to find out, it's in the 5th installment already. What has it been like over these last 4 editions, now getting into the 5th edition? I followed a bit of it. I've seen how exciting it can get. Charlie, sometimes it's so nerve-wracking. But let's start with you. What has the journey been like?
It's really been interesting and tough.
Interesting and tough. That's
yes.
Quite a combination.
yes. So we this year we started with 3,000 spellers across the country on board. So what we do is most of them went to their schools to have an internal spelling bee. So after the internal spelling bee, then we get the best spellers to move on to the next stage, which is the district contest or the quarterfinal stage. So the quarterfinal stage, we have everything on Joy Prime to the semi-final, and now we are moving to the final, that is the grand finale. So
how many contestants do we usually have? You've spoken about moving through the different stages, but over the years, how has it grown in terms of those who are participating, even from the grassroots level, before you even get to the finals?
Okay, can you?
Yeah, beginning the numbers were not as huge as we are seeing now.
I know.
Yeah, initially
I know very well.
We get to the schools, we have about maybe 20 people coming on board, but now there are some schools we get to have about 100 students registering from the school.
One school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Since we have it in 2 categories, it means every child in the basic school has the right to participate. If you are within the class 1 to 4, you fall into the first category.
Okay.
And then those from class 5 to JHS 2 can also be part of the seniors category. Okay. So we have a number of them registering from the various schools. Then we screen through from the schools, we move to the quarterfinal, the district context. Then from there, we move to the semi-final or the regionals. And then finally, we are in the finale.
Okay, so what is the mode of selection like?
Yeah, so in the school contest, each of them has the right to. So once the forms are in your school, you have the right to pick a form. Then you are given a set of words to study. You study the words. After some time, we come into the school to organize the internal B. Okay. So from the internal B, then you have to distinguish yourself by performing better than your colleagues. So from there, you are singled out and then you become part of the district contest.
So, for example, that school that may present about 100 or have 100 children interested, does that mean you would conduct for all 100 of them?
Sure. When we go to the school, we put them into categories. So maybe we have 30 of them into one group. Then that 30, we screen through the 30 and we select about 5 or 10 who are best spellers from that category. Then we move on to the next stage in that order. So as we move on, sadly, this year we have a school that is not even having a rep in the grand finale. So sad. Yeah.
Wow.
The competition is coming too tough. So you really need to prepare very well before you can see it through.
And over the years, I mean, this has shaped up. If the level of interest is increasing, it's because you're doing something good. But I'd like to find out from you, what do you think have been the benefits to these spellers? Now we have over 3,000 of them in the system. What has been the benefit to them?
Yeah, so we like to find out from parents and the spellers and the schools themselves. So the feedback we get is most parents see that once the children, they enroll their children on the program, the children become very disciplined. They use their time well. Then their level of confidence, the parents, that is what they always tell us, that the child has become so confident. And again, the child has become very studious. You always see them with their books. They want to get to know where's their meaning, their origin, and a whole lot. So the parents are really interested that, okay, this is making my child become very smart. And then they always want to have their children on board. Yeah.
So these are testimonies, basically,
yes,
from students themselves, the pupils, and then their parents, among others. Of course, to be able to do something like this, you need to build on your confidence. So I'm not surprised. But I'm curious, is it across all the regions, or is it just within the Greater Accra region? Ruth, can you let us know what's going on?
It's open to all people in the country. This year, we had some students registering from Damango in the Savannah region. So since we were unable to go to the Savannah region, what we did was that we allowed them to join the Ashanti regional contest. So they came around to Kumasi for the Ashanti regional contest. So it is open to all people in the various regions. We were able to go to Central region to have theirs. We couldn't go to Western region, so they also had to join the Central region contest. So we are looking at next year, if we are getting support and then a lot of them coming on board from the various regions, then it will mean we have to visit all the regions to have it done over there for them.
What is the support? You mentioned support. What has it been like? And what more? I'll give you the opportunity to talk about that. What more do you need in terms of support?
Okay, so for now, we have our sponsors who are supporting. We have Top Choco Flora Tissues, HD Plus, Dano Milk, Bigo Drinks, supporting us massively. But the other support I'm looking at is maybe coming from the government, so that maybe the ministry coming on board and then we can reach other regions. We get some students calling from Volta region and other places. We are looking at ministers from the various regions coming on board to say that, okay, I am taking charge for these people in my region, this constituency, the MP is supporting that. We can come and have it done here. Give us a budget, we are ready to foot the bill so that children in the various villages can also benefit. So it wouldn't be for only those in Accra and the few selected cities, but then all Ghanaian children can have access to such a good program.
That's a positive development. So we're reaching out to all, bodies out there, well-meaning Ghanaians as well. And of course, what if every member of parliament contributed something to the kitty so that within their constituencies, these can be held? That would be 275 of such, support, and that could take you far. But in terms of the grand finale, what can we expect?
Yeah, so the grand finale is happening on the 2nd
of December.
Yes, at Natal. Yes, that is where we are going to have it. And looking at the momentum the children have built so far, we are not expecting anything but the best. We are looking at they giving out their all so that we can have the best contest. I made mention of this because of looking at the contest and the preparation. What we are doing this time is we are going to have one winner within the basic 1 to 4 and one winner from basic 5 to 9. So we are not going to have co-champions. In case we are not able to do that at a particular point, what we will do is we will introduce the speed round. Yes.
Okay.
We'll introduce a speed round.
So that's going to be a novelty. It's a new thing.
Yes. A speed round to separate maybe two good spellers.
Tied entities.
Yes. So that is what we are. The speed round is what it entails. Each speller within maybe two spellers, or three, each speller will have 90 seconds to spell as many words as they can, and then afterwards the judges will determine who spelled most words correctly, and he or she will be declared the winner.
I see. Interesting stuff. What are the prizes at stake on the 2nd of December? And are there prizes for the school and the individual, or for how does it work?
Yes, so with Junior Speller, the prizes go to the individuals. So we are going to have cash prizes.
Okay.
And then our sponsors have been doing so well. Flora Tissues and Top Choco traveled with us to 50 schools across the country.
Wow.
More than 50 schools across the country, and they've given gifts to more than 30,000 school children in the country. Dano Milk has been doing so well with a lot of gifts supporting us. Then we have HD Plus also coming on board with a lot of gifts, exercise books, a whole lot of T-shirts, and a whole lot of stuff. Then we have Beagle Drinks from Twellium Industries. Then Twist Cupcake, breakfast, and all that. So we are going to have a lot of goodies for these spellers as we've been doing throughout the year, and other prizes as well.
Now, you've acknowledged the sponsors, unless there's any that you've left out. But next year, you're going to do this again. What can we anticipate ahead of next year? What are some of the projections? Are there any new things you're planning to bring on board next year? As for this season, it's almost done. But what are the plans for next year, Ruth?
Next year, we are looking at a trip abroad for the winner.
Oh,
yeah.
That's nice.
Yes.
But
yes.
Wait, okay, abroad, yes, but how about, there's so much to explore here. But fine, that's fine. That's fine. A trip abroad.
Yes. The spellers are doing so well. The number of words they need to study, we feel they really need that exposure. After the long-term studies, we have this break for them. So we really appreciate any sponsor who would take up that, so that we can have that trip outside for the winner, God willing, next year.
Okay. Well, I am an enthusiast. I'm always passionate about spelling. I was sharing a little story with them only, about growing up and, being pitted against my own elder brothers, spelling here and there. And look how that ended. Your final words? I saw you wanted to say something before we wrap.
So this year, I think Top Choco and Flora Tissue will give some of the spellers the opportunity to visit their
facilities.
Yes, and have some chat with them. I think somewhere next year after the contest. Yes, okay. So there will be some internally. Then
exploration.
Next year, then we try to have. So I believe we are going to have people who are going to support this initiative for it to be possible, so that next year we can have some of them traveling outside.
All right. Great stuff. Thank you for joining the conversation, and we wish all those junior spellers the very best. Those who joined us in the studio, Victor Osei Nkansa, founder Born Heroes Foundation and producer of Junior Speller, as well as Ruth Ampiao, secretary, Born Heroes Foundation. Did I murder your name or did I get it right?
It's okay.
No, I want you to pronounce it
Ampiao.
Ampiao. Ampiao. Okay. There's something I have to say, but I'll say it after we go off air. They will join us for this conversation. That's how we sew up the AM show this morning. My name is Benjamin Akapo. It's been a pleasure coming your way, and we're always glad that you actually bring us into your fold, whether it's on your TV screen, at work, at home, on your gadget, your tablet, phablet, phone, whatever it is. We're grateful that you allow us to come through. Let me also shout the team that makes this possible, from my producer, Derek Ekosam, to the director today, Patrick Otulate Gomez, to Dennis Quaver, as we call him, Linda, the camera crew, everyone who makes this happen, lighting, to everybody else, makeup, we salute you. Thank you so much. On that note, just stay with us because the AM show may be done, but Joy News Desk is up next. We'll be back.
News.